Auburn avoids the curse of #1 that bit the Oklahoma Sooners a week ago when they lost at Missouri. Now Oklahoma back on the field looking to respond as the Colorado Buffaloes come to Oklahoma Memorial Stadium, where Oklahoma has a 34-game home winning streak. So the task for Bob Stoops and the Sooners this week, put the one loss behind them and go on about their business with goals in the Big 12 and perhaps even the BCS title game still ahead of them against Dan Hawkins and the Colorado Buffaloes. I'm Carter Blackburn with Oregon's winningest football coach Mike Bellotti and former Washington All Pac-10 quarterback Brock Huard. Challenging week for the OU Sooners. They dipped into Oklahoma Sooner history. A quote from Bud Wilkinson: "Football in its purest form is a fight." Bob Stoops didn't see that from his team against Missouri. Thought the Tigers brought the fight to Oklahoma. Now he wants that fight restored. Tony Clemens fields the opening kickoff from the 5-yard line. Colorado won the toss, will receive the football first at the 25-yard line. So we see Cody Hawkins, the senior quarterback, playing in place of the injured Tyler Hansen.
And Cody started for 4 different years, and this is the first start this season. I fully expect, Mike, the ball in the air tonight. Cody, maybe not the biggest arm, not the prototypical quarterback, but has thrown for over 6,000 yards as a Buffalo.
You're right. He's in the top 5 in all passing categories. He was also voted captain this year by his team, even though he was not looking to be a starter. They trust him. He's a veteran. He's battle-tested.
Starting quarterback Tyler Hansen out with a ruptured spleen, most likely out for the season. Late clock already winding down as the Buffaloes take the field for the first play from scrimmage. 1 second. Just did it off, apparently. Will Jefferson, the sophomore running back, picks up about 4 on the first down carry. Our Liberty Mutual impact players when Colorado has a football.
Colorado's offense and running game starts with Rodney Stewart. He is so quick. He hides behind. He's not very big, but he can run with quickness to the outside or power to the inside.
And for Oklahoma defensively, Jeremy Beal, 2-time All Big 12 performer, second in Oklahoma history with 26.5 sacks. And Travis Lewis, the linebackers, a tackling machine already with 320 and just a junior.
Oklahoma gave up 486 yards of offense to Missouri a week ago, but minus yards on the carry by Rodney Stewart. It's Travis Lewis, that senior weak side linebacker, leading the Sooner charge. That's taking the fight to the Buffaloes.
That is, and that was one of the things that Bob Stoops talked about last week. He felt that his team did not have enough fight in them. They got to take the fight to the opponent. One of the other things that the Colorado team talked about being patient with the running game. Won't be surprised to see them feature the run, and they talked about hitting the holes and being patient even in that form of the attack.
Colorado's been an excellent third down team, 49% on the year. An early 3rd and 7. Hawkins' first throw is complete. It's Jefferson out of the backfield for a Colorado first down across the 40. Tony Jefferson makes a stop.
One of the things that I thought watching film last week, Will Jefferson is sort of the hidden key, in my opinion, for Colorado, because he sneaks out of the backfield. He can play wide receiver or running back. He's a great receiver, and he can run like a running back after the catch.
A little bit like DeMarco Murray on the other side. Very versatile in their talents.
In fact, Jefferson was a wide receiver. They moved him back to running back when Brian Lockridge went down with an injury. One of the myriad of injuries Colorado sustained this year. Toss to Stewart on first down. A couple of yards on the left side. This will be the last Big 12 meeting between Colorado and Oklahoma. The Buffaloes are on to what will be the Pac-12 next year. Been some really good meetings. And how surprising is that last line? Colorado's won 5 of the last 7 meetings here in Norman.
That's a great rallying cry for the Colorado Buffaloes.
Very surprising when you factor Dan Hawkins and his tenure in Colorado, just 2-21 as the Buffaloes head coach.
Last time these teams got together was 2007 in Boulder, a Colorado upset win. Out of the pistol look. Jefferson maybe lost a yard.
And I should clarify, 2-21 on the road as the Colorado head coach.
One of the things I think you're going to see from Colorado tonight in terms of the running game is more vertical north-south running. I don't think they have the speed to outrun Colorado to the edges unless it's some type of fly sweep. So you're going to see north-south, straight-ahead running, power football.
And if there's an area where Oklahoma may have some vulnerability because of injuries, out with 2 D tackles, rotating just 3 guys through, you're right, I do expect them to run between the tackles.
Colorado's already converted on 3rd and 7. This is 3rd and 8. The pocket holds up for Hawkins. Flings it to the sideline. Incomplete. Intended for Tony Clements.
You saw on that first 3rd down, Oklahoma tried to come after Hawkins and blitzed and left a void open, and Cody's a savvy player, found the player in the flat for the conversion. That time played very soft zone coverage. It will be critical tonight, Mike, and you know this. To convert on 3rd downs, Colorado must take advantage on the early downs.
You're right. In order to convert 3rd downs, you have to win 1st downs. That puts you in that position to be successful on the 3rd down.
Zach Grossnickel, the freshman from Denver, punting to Ryan Broyles, who'll let it hit. Takes a good Colorado bounce, rolling inside the 10. So the Buffs get an early break on the punt from Grossnickel. A 48-yard punt with an excellent roll. So now we see the Oklahoma offense led by the now 2nd-year starter, the sophomore Landry Jones.
And by all accounts, Landry Jones is a very good quarterback, but the bar has been set very high by Sam Bradford. He's comfortable in the pocket. He's got great feet. And maybe more important than that, he's more comfortable with all the stuff that happens before the snap now.
And what stands out on film, a lot like Sam Bradford, Landry throws a very tight spiral, very accurate, very effortless in his release, and maybe not the most athletic guy that you're seeing the mold in college football, but he's nimble enough in that pocket.
And Mike, as you mentioned, DeMarco Murray, the senior running back, telling us yesterday, Landry Jones in the huddle at the line of scrimmage. Much more confident tone in his sophomore year. Jones out of the shotgun on 1st down, the sweep. And it's no surprise that the early handoff goes to Roy Finch. He is the true freshman who missed the first 5 games of the year with a serious ankle injury. He's played the last 2, and he has averaged over 6 yards a carry. They like the explosiveness from Roy Finch.
He's got great speed. He's got great acceleration. He's the most explosive player on the Oklahoma football team.
And officially, that was a pass. So reception is that one is broken up. And did we say that Roy Finch was a true freshman, right?
And they talked about sometimes those things get screwed up. He's only practiced for about 3.5 weeks the whole season.
And I like what the coaching staff said to us. He's only had a couple Tuesday and Wednesday practices. Those are the heavy work days, and there you see some miscommunication at the quarterback.
DeMarco Murray is lined up as a slot receiver. Finch in the backfield, and he takes a pop as he picks up a couple. Michael Sapili, the middle linebacker, senior from Honolulu, makes a stop.
One thing about Colorado, and Oklahoma coaches address this and talking to, that's a nice hit, delivering the blow. Very physical within this front 7 is Colorado's defense.
Sooners hurry to the line for 3rd and 11, as they will do throughout the night. Only 1 deep safety back for Colorado, so Landry Jones wants to have a long look at the D. Back to pass, incomplete. Stills was the intended receiver.
Pressure got through, and again, obviously what they want to do on 3rd and long is get pressure on Landry Jones, take him out of his rhythm.
And keep an eye on that matchup all night long. You can see on that TV screen those corners for Colorado up in press. 2 very physical corners led by Jimmy Smith there, the 5th-year senior, locked on the freshman Kenny Stills. They want to jam these Sooners at the line of scrimmage.
Tress Way, the sophomore from Tulsa, will punt it to Trayvon Patterson, USC transfer. Patterson takes it at the 35. Nothing doing on the outside. Taylor makes the stop. In general, you don't want to mix zombies in a college campus, but here at University of Oklahoma, the zombie 5K run, the zombies have to jump out and try and get the flags of the runners who are then converted into zombies, so it's kind of a hybrid between capture the flag. And a great tradition, your campus sing, all the different social organizations get together. This was all last night, part of the Halloween festivities, and then Rocky Horror Picture Show on campus. Brad and Janet didn't know what they were getting into when they went to see the professor.
That's not fair because zombies can run forever. They don't need to eat. They don't need water. They never get dehydrated.
Did you learn that from that last Woody Harrelson movie? Or are you comparing it to some of your former players, perhaps? Hours away from Halloween, Colorado trying to pull the trick on Oklahoma. That one incomplete for Tony Clements. Nice coverage from DeMontre Hurst.
I tell you, that's a well-thrown ball. And they're not afraid to take shots down the field with Cody. Again, he's a veteran quarterback. He started many, many games in his career. And again, they've got to do that to keep that defense honest.
And this is one difference for Dan Hawkins that he has not had in his tenure at Colorado. Patterson, the transfer from USC. Clemens, you see the shot there down the field, a transfer from Michigan. Richardson, really their most explosive player, just a freshman. They have some talent on the outside.
Cody Hawkins, the senior out of Boise, Idaho. And his father, Dan, was the head coach at Boise State. Stewart, nowhere to go. Back to the line of scrimmage. Let's check in with Wendy Nix.
Mark, thank you very much. We check in with a game over on ABC, Oregon and USC, and no one expected a defensive showdown. So far, so good. Darren Thomas to Jeff Mail, a 45-yard connection, puts the Ducks on top 22-17, tail end of the first half.
You said there was going to be some points scored in that one, Coach.
Yeah, I think that'll go to the fourth quarter, and I think Oregon will outlast USC.
Another second-half team with the Ducks pace, similar to what Oklahoma wants to do on offense. Colorado facing 3rd and 10. Hawkins incomplete behind the dragging receiver, Tony Clements.
Right now you're getting a stalemate at the line of scrimmage, which does not favor Colorado. They need to be able to run the football. Getting in 3rd and long each time is not going to be good, but they've got to make those catches too. Those are catchable passes. They're not great. They're vicinity throws, but again, they got to be caught.
Colorado actually leads the Big 12 in 3rd down conversions in 50% this season. But so far, as you address, you get in the 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10. It's not going to happen here in Norman tonight.
Nickel hits this one short, so Broyles fair catch at the 37. Stayed up late for kickoff tonight in Norman.
ESPN's College Football Primetime. Brought to you by Pizza Hut. Enjoy all your favorite pizzas at new lower menu prices. Your favorites, your Pizza Hut. And Lexus. This is the pursuit of tomorrow. This is the pursuit of perfection.
Among the great games between Oklahoma and Colorado, 1956 in the midst of Oklahoma's 47-game winning streak. Sooners had to come back to beat Colorado. In 1970, they debuted the wishbone. As Landry Jones completes that to DeMarco Murray for a short game. Jaleel Brown on the stop.
Colorado will not hurt themselves defensively. That is one thing that really, other than the game at Cal where they really got taken out to the woodshed 52-7, this is a very sound defense that keeps things in front of them.
Out of the pistol look. Play fake to Murray. Bring it back to Ryan Broyles. A stiff arm from Broyles to get near the first down.
They tackle well. They're very sound and fundamental. But again, their problem is going to be speed on the flanks tonight against this Oklahoma team.
And Broyles, second in career receptions at Oklahoma, quickly chasing down Mark Clayton, well, largely because of that. They will get him the ball in a number of those screens, those swing passes, those bubble screens, smoke screens, very active.
70th catch of the season. He leads the nation. Football Bowl subdivision, that is, in receptions per game. Trey Millard, the true freshman from Columbia, Missouri. Fullback that they're very high on in the future of the OU backfield.
When they recruited him, he was returning punts in the game in the high school. So again, they knew he had great hands and great decision making.
Offensive coordinator Kevin Wilson said he could have gone to Stanford, great academic profile. He liked the idea of being a big back in an Oklahoma offense. That's what he is becoming. There's Broyles who makes his second catch. Let's take a look at the Liberty Mutual impact players when the Sooners have the football.
Well, DeMarco Murray is the embodiment of the all-purpose player. He's already rushed, passed, and received, 1,000 yards. Ryan Broyles, though, is leading the nation in receptions. He's the best receiver in space they've had at Oklahoma.
And Colorado defensively, Jimmy Smith, that lockdown big corner on the outside, why Colorado feels comfortable playing as much man-to-man outside.
Quick tempo Oklahoma offense picks up a first down. It's Jones to Broyles, and you see the type of tempo that Oklahoma wants to play with. Kevin Wilson telling us, yeah, there's a tempo and there's a pace, but if we're not moving the football and getting first downs, there's no rhythm for anybody.
The rhythm and tempo, he said, depends on them running the football efficiently.
So hurry to the line, take a look at the defense, get the play call. Jones over the middle, caught inside the 20. Trent Rattery with just his 6th catch of the season, the former walk-on backup tight end.
Brock, you mentioned this earlier. Landry Jones, when he's at his most effective, is distributing the football.
Sooners quick snap it, swing it to DeMarco Murray on the edge with Broyles blocking for him. Murray gets inside the 15.
I didn't do justice to DeMarco Murray earlier. He's already scored 59 touchdowns for Oklahoma, the most in the history, but he's returned over 1,000 yards, caught receptions over 1,000 yards, rushed for over 1,000 yards. Again, his picture's next all-purpose player in the dictionary.
Told us yesterday, it doesn't, I like them all. As long as the football is in my hands, I like it. But then, like a good running back said, I'm working on my blocking. Here's Murray out of the backfield, making the grab, lowering the pads, but a nice open field tackle from Jimmy Smith.
And there you see the impact player, not just in lockdown man coverage, and this will be essential for Colorado tonight with all of these screens and everything. These are extended handoffs. You better tackle well in space.
Jimmy Smith, the senior from Colton, California, one of the 2 excellent corners along with Jaleel Brown for the Buffaloes. Jones on 3rd and 7, dropped by James Hanna.
Remember, a week ago, it was this red zone area, Coach, that really hurt Oklahoma against Missouri. 3 times inside the 15, fumble, interception, missed field goal.
And James Hanna has great hands. He's caught 4 touchdowns already this year, second on the team. One thing about DeMarco Murray that I thought he said really struck me as something. He wants to learn to play better without the football. And again, talking about blocking and all the other things that make the team go.
Just a complete player.
And one of the hardest workers in practice.
Stevens missed a 30-yarder last week at Missouri. This is 33. First points of the night belong to the Oklahoma Sooners on a 33-yard field goal from Jimmy Stevens. Oklahoma scores first to make it 3-0. Carter Blackburn with Mike Bellotti and Brock Heward. A number 9 next to the Oklahoma name. A week ago, there was a number 1 next to it. They lost to Missouri. The big question for Bob Stoops and the Sooners, how are they going to respond after that loss?
Well, they're very frustrated, but they're a very young team. 19 freshmen and redshirt freshmen on this team playing for them this year. Message was simple. You got to take the fight to the opponent, eliminate mistakes, win the red zone, and again, take the fight. I'm going to come back to that. Take the fight to the opponent.
And so far, if you're a Colorado fan, 8 minutes into this game, this is how you're going to have to play. You want to get this game to the second half, have a fighting chance, and it's going to require good red zone defense as they just forced a field goal from Oklahoma.
Now, even though there's a number 9 for the BCS ranking next to Oklahoma, everyone seems to say, well, the Big 12 is ahead of Oklahoma, and that's about it. Maybe still BCS title run ahead. We're going to get into that as the night continues. Lemons across the 20 as we check in with Wendy next.
3rd quarter.
First time since 1986 that Baylor has been ranked and Texas has not between the meeting between the Bears and the Hornets.
And the first time in a long time that Baylor's had a quarterback like Robert Griffin. He is a special talent.
From Copperas Cove, Texas. Cody Hawkins in Colorado from the 23. It's Stewart on first down. There's a flag as Stewart picks up about 5.
Making the tackle is Travis Lewis.
Illegal chop block, number 59 of the offense. Penalty will be half the distance to the goal. First down.
That's David Bakhtiari, the right tackle, as we look at the Discover BCS standings entering today.
When, as you see, a lot of stuff changed. I mean, and Oregon's in a dogfight right now. Auburn secured first place, obviously, but Michigan State and Missouri down for the count right now.
Anytime you go on the road into very hostile environments, that's what Bob Stoops said to us yesterday. Yes, they were terrible in the red zone but Missouri was a hornet's nest a week ago. When you won't go on the road and you don't play quality football, you make mistakes, you're going to lose. And that's exactly what happened today with both Missouri and Michigan State.
And next week it's TCU versus Utah, 4-8 facing one another. Hawkins blitzed. It's tipped in, incomplete. Frank Alexander got a hand on it, but Tom Ward applying the pressure.
That was one of those new formations that Oklahoma talked about. They had to be ready to defend. When you say just come after him, that's a way to defend it.
And Colorado cannot afford those first down penalties. They must have positive plays on first and second downs and get to manageable third downs. Otherwise, you're playing right into the hands of the Sooner defense.
Cody Hawkins has missed his last 4 passes. Throwing again on 2nd and 21. Caught by Tony Clemens near the original line of scrimmage.
Getting half of it back is awesome because it becomes a manageable third down in that situation. That's what you want to do. Get half of it back.
And you see more one-on-one coverage outside, and they tried the go route earlier. Hurst shut that down. So what do? You come back with that fade stop. That route's become more and more popular in pro football. Nice execution, though. The ball looked like it may have moved on the ground.
Colorado 3rd and long again. Hawkins to a check down receiver. Well short of the first down. It's Will Jefferson out of the backfield, so the Buffaloes will have to punt again.
And again, Brock, you brought it up. You can't start with a long penalty. You get yourself in a hole, especially down in your own territory, because part of this is winning the field position battle through keeping the play going forward and winning special teams.
And very sound defensively for Oklahoma. You keep everything in front of you. You've got more speed. That's very obvious in these first 3 series. Keep things in front of you and swarm to the football.
Buffaloes talk about possessing the ball, and they go 3 and out on the last 2 drives. Gross Nickel punts away from Broyles. It comes a rest near the 30-yard line. After the win last weekend, Denny Hamlin finds himself just 6 points behind Jimmy Johnson, making this the closest chase in history. Now they head to Talladega. The chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup continues with the Amp Energy Juice 500 at Talladega. ESPN tomorrow, 1 Eastern. Just 4 races left. And I love how halfway through the year, everyone was counting Jimmy Johnson out. There he is atop the Sprint Cup standings again.
And they can all win, right? I mean, there's 4 races
correct.
left, and that really
is wide
amazing.
open. Oklahoma football here, 1st and 10. Field goal drive last time for the Sooners. This is DeMarco Murray, the senior from Las Vegas, Bishop Gorman High School, only a yard.
You know, one of the other things Bob Stoop is telling his team after looking at the BCS standings, they're the 2nd-ranked 1-loss team. Then they can win the division champ, they can win the conference championship. The BCS is not out of the question.
Sooners quick snap it again and pick up a first down. Trey Franks, the true freshman from West Orange Stark High School in Southeast Texas.
Right now, Oklahoma is very content to get the ball outside to its playmakers, not running up the middle where that's Colorado's strength.
Quick snap again. Jones swings it to Trey Franks again. Back-to-back reception for Trey Franks, who had just 6 on the year. Add 2 more.
And I really liked what defensive coordinator Ron Collins said at Colorado. They use that fast-paced tempo not just to keep our same 11 on the field, but it really highlights the potency of the athletes out in space.
Very athletic offensive line for Oklahoma. Blocking for Landry Jones here on the roll. Incomplete, intended for Stills.
Yeah, and only a sophomore. Discretion, the better part of valor. Throw that ball away. But all of those long passes, those long handoffs, take great accuracy to allow the play to have a chance for success. You got to throw it right on the money, not behind him, not over the top, but again, let him run in space.
Landry Jones has already completed 10 passes. Cody Hawkins only 1. On 3rd down, Murray makes the grab, slips the tackle, and picks up the first down for OU.
It's such a nice weapon to have as an offensive coordinator, a guy that can beat safeties and linebackers, a total mismatch on anybody between the hashes. 2nd all-time to Quentin Griffin for all-time receptions out of the backfield, and there's nothing there that Sapili could do to match up with his speed.
Quick snap from the Sooners. Jones to the air again. This is nearly picked. Miscommunication there with the true freshman Kenny Stills. Jimmy Smith had a chance at the INT.
And Oklahoma playing 13 true freshmen. Stills there, a true freshman out of Southern California. You're going to have some of those mishaps. We saw it earlier with Finch on the handoff that went the wrong way. That time, obvious miscommunication between quarterback and receiver.
Landry Jones from Artesia, New Mexico. Out of the shotgun, 2nd and 10. Screen.
This could be a big play.
DeMarco Murray stays in bounds, or did he? Stepped out. Stepped out back at the 27. Jaleel Brown shoved him out.
Sideline was the savior for Colorado. That screen had a great chance to go. You could tell again by the number of people coming in on Landry Jones. Here again, he's off to the races. Great job of just getting a hand on him by Jaleel Brown to push him out of bounds.
Good call. Foot out there at the 27. Oklahoma moving again. Not inside the 20 yet, which is officially the red zone where Oklahoma struggled so much in the loss at Missouri. 2 turnovers, 1 missed field goal. Murray up the gut for 3, maybe 4.
And offensive coordinator Kevin Wilson, who sits up where we sit up here with the bird's eye view, has seen a very active defensive line of Colorado. Lots of line stunts, lots of activity. That screen, a perfect way to slow down some of that rush.
Well, the other thing is, you notice they're running sideline to sideline. Those big guys up front for Colorado are going to get tired very quickly. There's been 16 passes to only 5 rushes, so 3-to-1 pass-run ratio.
And all of 5 yards in the ground game, which is a point of emphasis from Oklahoma this week, trying to improve the ground game. Broyles makes the grab in the flat, sprinting ahead for another Oklahoma first down. Nobriga on the stop.
You know, one of the things, too, with these long handoffs, as you talk about, it puts a huge onus on the blocking power or perception of the wide receivers. They have to block well.
This is Finch, the freshman running back. Inside the 10, knee down right at the 10.
Yeah, he has a different gear, doesn't he, Mike?
Yeah, he's 4.5 in a hiccup. You know, he gets there so fast. They said they don't know how fast he is, but he is so quick and has such great acceleration.
Good story in the Oklahoma today about his nomadic formative years. Dad was a doctor in the Air Force. He spent a high school year here in the state of Oklahoma while his dad was stationed here. So that was his really first exposure to Oklahoma. Said if I hadn't spent that year here in high school, I don't think I'd be wearing the crimson. Finch gets it again on 2nd and 5. Picks up a couple of positive yards.
That's about the 3rd time that we've seen Sapili fly in from his middle linebacker spot. Colorado without 2 of their top 3 leading tacklers because of injury. That bumps Sapili up, and I'll tell you, he gets his hands on you, and you're going down.
He's a physical linebacker, and he's responded to the challenge of being the guy back there in the middle.
3rd down and 3. Murray motions. Jones looks to him in the backfield. DeMarco Murray dragged down and dropped by Jaleel Brown. Did we tell you that those Colorado corners are physical?
Great job of getting off the block that time. We talked about you got to hold those blocks a long time on this lateral passing game of Oklahoma.
And I know Dan Hawkins and his staff are in battle, and that's probably putting it kindly. But I'll tell you, there's 2 statistics that I always look at. Your 3rd down percentage and how do you play in the red zone. And in both of those areas, you've seen them highlighted in this first quarter. This staff and Dan Hawkins have done a nice job this season. Oklahoma now 0 for 2 in scoring touchdowns in the red zone.
Before the 26-yard field goal attempt, that's the end of the first quarter. So a field goal from Oklahoma, a field goal attempt coming for the Sooners. Only a field goal on the board in the first quarter from an Oklahoma offense that is averaging 35 points a game. First play of the second quarter will be another field goal attempt from Jimmy Stevens, the junior from Oklahoma City. 4 for 6 on the year. Big miss a week ago at Missouri. John Nimmo to hold. 56-yarder is good. Oklahoma has a 6-0 lead. Buffaloes give up a couple of scores, but they're right in it at the start of the second. Gaylord Family Oklahoma Memorial Stadium holds just over 82,000. Oklahoma has 77,000 season ticket holders. Game day in Norman. Tough to get in here.
Just a beautiful day, too. Just gorgeous. I think everywhere we have been this season, the good weather has followed us. A little bit of a breeze, but 75 and sunny today. And a tremendous now evening for football.
Late 9 pick, 8:15 local time here. Jackie, the up end for Colorado, makes the grab across 28. We check in with Wendy next.
Carter, thank you. Texas has won its last 12 meetings with Baylor, but Robert Griffin trying to change that, padding the lead. He punches it in from a yard out to make it 23-19. Baylor in the lead with 9:45 to play in the fourth quarter. And over on ABC, Oregon has scored early and often, leading USC 29-17.
That good old Baylor line blocking the way. Touchdown Bears, and just as Mike Bellotti, former Oregon coach, predicted, the Ducks beginning to pull away from USC in the second half. This is Stewart for a minimal game.
Colorado chose this year to play without their names on their jerseys. So I thought it was interesting. A couple of seniors went to Coach Hawks and said, we want to play for the name on the front, not our name on the back. I thought that's a great team orientation. And they're playing like that because there's not a lot of superstars on either side of the ball, but they're playing hard.
Well, that team on the front better start running the ball or they're going to have no chance tonight. Now 6 rushes, just 8 yards.
For a team who said they needed to run the football today. Hawkins to throw on second down. It is caught by Scotty McKnight. You talk about a team without superstars. Scotty McKnight is a guy who walked on at the University of Colorado, is now the Buffalo's career record holder with now 197 catches, 4th all-time in receiving yards.
He's smart, he's got great body control and great hands. He's not the fastest guy, not the biggest guy, but he's a winner.
Caught a pass now in 45 straight games. Longest active streak in college football. He's caught a pass in every game of his Colorado career, going back to when he was a walk-on. 3rd and 3 here for the Bucks. Hawkins to throw. It's tipped at the line and incomplete.
Same thing. Oklahoma automatic to a blitz when they saw the empty backfield. Both times they've got pressure right in Cody Hawkins' face, either distracting him or knocking the ball down.
That's the challenge of being about a 5'10" quarterback. Going to get those balls batted back at you.
Travis Lewis gets a hand on it.
He gets a hands on a lot of things. He's got 67 tackles coming into tonight, an interception, a sack. I mean, he's all over the field.
The Buffaloes said they needed to get first downs, run the clock, hold on to the football. Last 3 drives, 3 and out, 3 and out, and now 3 and out. Broyles makes the grab inside the 20. Sooners 6-0 lead, but OU trying to get that offense rolling.
ESPN's College Football Primetime. Brought to you by Cooper Tires. Don't give up a thing. And Travelers. Insurance for auto, home, and business.
I'm standing in front of the University of Oklahoma seed sower statue. Every year, the South Oval gets decorated with over 20,000 mums. Also, the statues across campus are decorated in Halloween costumes. Welcome to my university.
Morgan was the homecoming queen, so congratulations to Morgan. Now, OU fans were encouraged to dress like their favorite coach in OU history. I don't remember the Darth Vader tenure here in Norman. Landry Jones swings it out of the backfield to Roy Finch. So Oklahoma's gone on a couple of long drives last time they've had the football, but only 2 field goals.
You see the production there. It will be a bend, but not great defense tonight. And you see some more sound fundamentals. Those corners outside, funneling those screen passes in, letting the flow come and make the tackles.
Landry Jones from the shotgun. Turns and hands to Roy Finch. There you see some of the explosive burst from the true freshman.
Kevin Wilson was pretty honest with us yesterday. He said, listen, we're not going to be that team this year, not with the youth we have up front that can simply line up and smash mouth you, but they have to be more proficient in the run game. Before that run, 7 runs, 13 yards. They need to at least threaten that defense with run.
You're right. He said, again, which we've heard many times this year, we need a more physical presence. We need more punch at the line of scrimmage. They've recruited athletes. They're very adept at pulling, getting to the outside, but they've also got to be able to knock people off the ball.
Looks like he's going to be just short. Yeah, it was one of the first times when you read through the different materials we get, it was rather remarkable. Donald Stevenson, left tackles, added 25 pounds. Gabe Eichert, the right left guards, added 30 pounds in his tenure. The right tackle, Mensick, a converted tight ends, added 25 pounds. A lot of guys that were former tight ends, undersized athletes, that they wanted that speed and felt like they could put the bulk on in their tenure here at school.
3rd and very short. Millard, the fullback. DeMarco Murray, the tailback. It's Millard who gets the first down as we check in with Wendy.
Carter, thank you. We showed you Robert Griffin getting it done on the ground against Texas. Why not in the air? Griffin looking for Kendall Wright. These two connect 30 yards in the score. It's 30-19. Baylor with the lead.
Here in Norman, Oklahoma, the Sooners continue to go up-tempo. It's DeMarco Murray out of the backfield to near midfield.
And when you have an athletic line, Coach, what do you want to do within your run game?
Well, you want to pull those guys because, again, you make the defense redistribute their gap integrity, and it's very difficult. And also, this offensive line is fairly young. Freshmen, a couple sophomores, and even the junior and senior have not played a lot of football, so they're still learning on the run.
16-yard pickup by Murray, longest rush of the day for Oklahoma. This is Finch in motion. Play fake to both of the backs. Jones over the middle. Caught. It's Rattery with his second grab. A former walk-on tight end. Had only 5 catches coming into tonight. 2 in the first half.
And it's such basic football 101. When you can run the ball a little bit, when you provide that doubt and that thought to a defense, it opens up that play-action pass.
Sooners quick snap it inside the 30. Finch, cutback. Finch dropped as he reaches the 20.
One of the other things that's going to happen, the fatigue factor in terms of the Colorado defense being on the field so much and so long, having to run sideline to sideline, will take its toll over the course of this game.
Terrell Smith, true freshman from Patterson, New Jersey, on the stop. Finch leaping over defender, picking up another OU first down to the 15.
And this is a thin Colorado defense that has just been marred by injuries. You have a true freshman safety. You've got a lot of inexperience. You don't have many guys to rotate in and out. So watch how many hands get on the hips here, because this defense has been on the field an awful lot in this first half.
The first downs now are 12-1. Oklahoma over Colorado. 8th play of the drive coming here for OU. And there you already see Forrest West hitting a knee. Jones pumps, throwing to the end zone. Touchdown, Ryan Broyles. The Sooners in the end zone for the first time tonight. Last 2 Oklahoma drives, they settled for field goals. Not so this time. Landry Jones to Ryan Broyles' 5th, 6th touchdown catch of the year for Broyles.
We've seen a lot of that bubble screen by Oklahoma. That time, Ryan Broyles fakes him out. He acts like he's going to run that little bubble screen, darts down the sideline. Finally, a conversion in the red zone.
You know, the disparity in time of possession is not as great as the number of plays that have been run during that time.
Oklahoma takes that 8-play drive, finishing in the end zone. The number 9 Sooners up 13-0. Edward and Stephanie Moore looking on as Ryan Broyles' son makes a grab for his 6th touchdown catch of the year. They use Ryan Broyles all over the field of the Oklahoma Sooners. Not your typical split in, wide out is just going one-on-one against the defensive back.
They like to get matchups created on safeties, linebackers, and also just put them in space, because as we talked about earlier, his peripheral vision, his ability to manage himself in space is the best on this team.
2 weeks ago, last home game against Iowa State. He had 13 catches in the first half, 15 in the game. This is Trayvon Patterson across the 35 for Colorado. Now our playing favorites brought to you by Pizza Hut. Let's go right back to Ryan Broyles, the junior from right here in Norman.
And it's just that little body control. It's the little nuances when you play in space. It's like defenders in basketball know how to beat a zone offense, and the touchdown there, as I said, he sold it just enough, just tricky enough here on Halloween night to tell those Colorado guys, I'm going to run that bubble screen, and nope, I'm right by you down the sidelines. Got the speed. He's healthy now with the ankle, and they convert the touchdown in the red zone.
Colorado has only 1 first down in the game. They've gone 3 and out the last 3 drives. This will be a first down as Hawkins completes to Trayvon Patterson, senior transfer from USC. When the NCAA sanctions came down this summer at Troy, the upperclassmen were given the option of transferring without having to sit out the normal year because they wouldn't be able to play in a bowl game. So the senior from Long Beach Poly High School said, you know what, if I want to be an NFL receiver, I got to learn how to play in all sorts of weather. I'm going to go to the Rocky Mountains, play in some snow.
He did a nice job of flattening that route out. Oftentimes when a play develops that long, those guys can drift down the field. He was nice and sharp in his cut. Gave Hawkins a nice target across the middle.
Did he really say he wanted to go play in the snow?
That's true. Stewart, nice cutback from Rodney Stewart, the junior out of Westerville, Ohio.
Now you get to look at the quickness and the agility of Rodney Stewart, his ability to make people miss and then get his heels and upfield. See right there, make a guy miss in the backfield, go north and south, little scoot move there, and then plant the feet and go. Straight arm and get 5 more yards after contact.
17-yard pickup for the 5'6", 175-pound back out of Brookhaven High School. Very lightly recruited. Some MAC schools wanted him to walk on. I got a late scholarship offer from Colorado. 17-yard gain, the longest play for Colorado tonight. Hawkins looking to the end zone. On first down, receiver Clemens falls down. No flag. It's Jamel Fleming in coverage.
Fleming did a very nice job with his eyes. Colorado tries to, you see this many times with this kind of field position, to take a shot. They tried to fake that run play, and Fleming doesn't bite at all.
He did a great job. He didn't bite any of the play action. He stayed way over the top of the ball, and he played the ball, not the receiver.
OU fans were booing because they wanted offensive pass interference as Clemens had the takedown move on Jamel Fleming. Colorado takes a shot, comes up empty. 2nd and 10. Hawkins looking for the screen. It's not there, so Jefferson the other way. That's incomplete. Here comes 3rd and 10.
Great reaction by the pass rush of Oklahoma. They read screen, flattened out, and retraced their steps back to the outside to stop, and they had a double screen setup. Both sides. Great job by the Oklahoma defense.
When you hear coaches say they're very sound, well, that's a perfect illustration of it. They read, they react, they trust their keys, and they break down that screen pass.
Alexander right there in the face of Hawkins. Colorado was near 50% on the year on 3rd down, just 1 for 5 tonight. Hawkins comes back the other way, complete to Clemens, the Michigan transfer for a Colorado first down. Buffaloes convert.
They moved the pocket that time to buy more protection for Cody. And again, buy more time for the route to develop. You see again Clemens down the field, post stop, comes back to the ball. Nice job in terms of the first down marker too. Make sure he caught it past the line.
You love to see those receivers constantly coming back to the football. Don't stop your feet and give the corner a chance to jump on top of you.
Prior to this drive, Colorado had only 1 first down. That was on the opening possession. Now the Buffs moving it near the Oklahoma 20. Hawkins toss, Rodney Stewart dragged down, minimal gain there. Travis Lewis on the stop. Chris Berman hosts ESPN's 2-hour pregame show with Tom Jackson, Keyshawn Johnson, Mike Ditka, Chris Carter, and a bunch of others. Get all the news and latest updates from stadiums around the league. Sunday NFL Countdown presented by IBM on ESPN tomorrow. Approaching today in the East, 11 a.m. Eastern. Two tight end set for Colorado on 2nd down. Play fake to Jefferson. Hawkins rolling, comes back across the middle. Caught. There's a flag on the play. Luke Walters makes the catch.
That could be pass interference against the offense. It looked to me as if the receiver pushed off from the DB.
Pass interference. Number 81 of the offense. Penalty will be 10 yards from the previous spot.
They were hand fighting there, and again, when the receiver gains an advantage by pushing off, if you see the arm extend, we're talking about pushing with the elbows instead of the hands, because then they can't see him a little bit. But you can see right here, pushing down the field and then just separating. And again, unfortunately, that happens all the time. When he gets the ball there, they're going to call it.
That could be a critical play in the football game. Colorado driving momentum. Now they're backed up to 2nd and 24.
We talked about those penalties. You can't get them on early downs. And again, you're right. I think this is an important drive for Colorado to stay in this game.
Their field goal kicking has been inconsistent, to say the least. So the Buffs, even you get it to the 20 or so, not reliable.
We're confirming the status of the clock, which is correct.
The confirmation has been affirmed. Hawkins hands off Stewart. Right through the OU defense, picking up 14. Back to the original line of scrimmage before Nelson brings him down. Sooners got caught in a little misdirection.
And if you're going to have success, more often than not, it's going to be running behind that left side. Left tackle Nate Solder, number 78. They're talking about as a top 10 kind of NFL draft pick, 6'9", and that's what you call washing down that entire edge.
And right now, Colorado is actually running the ball in pass situations and long yardage situations, being more effective in those than the normal running downs.
So it's back to 3rd and 11, call it. Hawkins with the blitz coming, releases incomplete. Had to get rid of it.
I think he anticipated an outbreak by his receiver, obviously under pressure. Oklahoma doing a nice job of confusing the Colorado protection by bringing people or dropping people and getting people home to the quarterback.
But a smart play by the 5th-year senior, at least giving you a chance at a field goal, not taking the sack in that situation.
So this will be a 40-yarder from Eric Goodman. He is only 4 for 8 on the season. This 40-yarder is good. So Colorado's on the board. Dan Hawkins can't even watch the kick anymore. Just tell me we got 3. Celebrating its 6th year sponsoring the Good Hands Field Goal Nets, Allstate makes contributions to participating universities' general scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kick. Today, Allstate has contributed more than $2.2 million in scholarship monies. Field goal good from Eric Goodman from 40 yards as we near Halloween. And that's one of the masks that they were distributing here. I'm not sure if that's like Oklahoma throwback Punisher look. I don't know.
It's a football player or a hockey with a bad mask.
Yeah.
Goalie.
We're in Norman, Oklahoma. I'm guessing it's related to football. Murray brings it out of the end zone and dives over the 20. Every Sunday, the BCS Countdown Show, presented by Discover Card, unveiling the new BCS standings tomorrow and every Sunday, 8:15 Eastern on ESPN, continuing 9 Eastern on ESPNU. Reminder that Oklahoma is 5 by the average computer ranking. So even though there's a 9 next to their name, average by 5, still those games at Baylor, at Oklahoma State, and then potentially a Big 12 championship game. So as we head into November, Oklahoma still belongs in the conversation for BCS title game. Minimal gain there for Murray. In fact, he loses a few yards. Forrest West leads away.
And we talked, too, about the fact that Alabama is the one-loss team ahead of them. They play LSU and Auburn still. And, again, Oregon ahead of them has USC, Arizona, and Oregon State. They're getting all they can handle tonight with USC.
And the news of the day with Michigan State and Missouri both losing, 2 of those teams ahead of Oklahoma. Can you explain to me why Oregon is so far back in the computer rankings? I mean, one computer has them at 11.
I think it's strength of schedule. They didn't play anybody early, Portland State, New Mexico, etc. And they will gain points as this thing goes forward, assuming that they can defeat teams like Arizona, USC, Oregon State. So again, the meat of their schedule is to come.
The bottom line tells us that it's USC by 3 right now. So a question for the Ducks tonight. So could be a really good day for Oklahoma fans. Michigan State, Missouri, potentially Oregon, and oh yeah, the Texas Longhorns getting beat by double digits right now by Baylor. Landry Jones to throw on 3rd and 12. Broyles makes a great grab, and it's all Ryan Broyles. 81-yard touchdown strike. Landry Jones to Ryan Broyles.
Brock, and you can attest to this, there cannot be a better thrown pass. And they're running stride for stride. It's right there. And then Broyles uses his body to shield the defender. Then it's off to the races.
Colorado rolls the dice. They play that man-to-man coverage where you're susceptible to giving up the big plays. Jonathan Hawkins in a one-on-one situation is tight in coverage. But you're right, Coach. A perfect throw can beat perfect defense.
Last 2 Oklahoma possessions have ended the same way. Landry Jones to Ryan Broyles. This one in spectacular 81-yard fashion. PAT is good. Mom and Dad Sooner love it. So does the rest of Oklahoma Nation. Ryan Broyles says when he gets out on the football field, it's more like a playground to him. It's so much fun. And that shows up in all of the numbers. That is career touchdown grab number 28, only 3 behind Mark Clayton. Last 2 touchdown strikes from Landry Jones, who has bounced back from an awful 4th quarter at Missouri.
Yeah, tough 4th quarter, but he's answering his critics tonight. He's 17 out of 22 for 235 yards, 77% completion, and 2 touchdowns already.
It's a guy who's thrown for over 2,000 yards his sophomore year, completing 67% of his passes. Patterson is upended, nearing the 30. And yet, because Sam Bradford was the #1 pick and was such a great quarterback at Oklahoma, Landry Jones is really tossed in there early last year. I mean, there's not a lot of, I don't know.
But you know what? That's okay. Yeah. It's fine to have the bar. If you know as a quarterback, and trust me, Landry Jones knows the bar is set very, very high. The #1 pick in the NFL draft, it's not like he does not know the expectations and the pressures that come with playing the position here.
And he wouldn't want it any different. The reality is you want to be the best, and you want to be measured against the best.
Colorado football from the 30 with Rodney Stewart behind the quarterback Cody Hawkins, playing again in place of Tyler Hansen. For the year with a ruptured spleen. Hawkins sells the fake, but now has to heave it to the sideline. So Landry Jones 0 for 7 in the 4th quarter at Missouri, including the interception in the red zone. Tonight, 235, pair of touchdowns, and we're still plenty of time to go in the 2nd.
And both the coaches and the players express great optimism, great belief, confidence in Landry Jones, his ability to lead this team, his ability to throw the ball under pressure, and he's showing that.
That's right. Everybody wants to get so caught up in just the numbers and those statistics. You don't look at everything else that playing the position's all about. The leadership, in and out of the huddle, the checks, all of those things he handles really well.
Stewart gets it and dropped as soon as he grabs it.
I'll tell you what,
Jamarcus McFarland.
We're seeing right now, we're seeing the Oklahoma team take the fight to the Colorado team. They're beating him at the line of scrimmage, beating him across the ball, reconstituting the line of scrimmage 2 yards deep in the Colorado backfield.
All about get off on that play. Look at the explosion. McFarland was the #3 defensive line recruit in America. That's why when you're 295 pounds and you can explode off the snap and disrupt those plays in the backfield.
Sophomore from Lufkin, Texas, playing the position that Gerald McCoy played for Oklahoma. #3 pick in last year's draft. They were the top 4 picks from the Sooners last year. Hawkins avoids the rush, flings it complete to Scotty McKnight, well short of the first down. We check in with Wendy.
Carter, perhaps a surprising development at the Coliseum. We go back to L.A., Oregon, and USC on ABC. Matt Barkley, the 3-yard touchdown plunge. The Trojans elect to go for 2. Barkley to Ronald Johnson. Complete. 32-29 USC with the lead.
Still a lot of time in that game, and I'll tell you, the one area where USC is really hurt with these transfers, as we've seen even one here on the field tonight, their lack of depth. Watch that come into play in the fourth quarter.
First Nichols punt fielded by Broyles. Return of about 5 yards to the 33.
The depth of USC's defense will be tested tonight, again, especially with Oregon. If they can convert third downs, they keep the team on the field. It'll be tough for USC to hang with them into the fourth quarter. However, we knew it was going to be a slugfest, a scoring deal. Whoever has the ball last may end up being the winner.
And I'll tell you one thing about Broyles tonight. There was some concern about his health. He's had a nagging ankle injury. He didn't practice much before the Missouri game. Got a few days in this week, and very, very evident tonight he is full speed.
81-yard touchdown pass play. The previous time that Oklahoma had the football, Landry Jones to Ryan Broyles. Play fake on first down. Jones has to get rid of it. Will this be grounding? Looked like the ball got across the line of scrimmage. It was B.J. Beatty, the senior from Hawaii, applying the pressure.
And Beatty looks like he fell on the leg awkwardly as Landry Jones is limping. Looks like he gets both feet up, but he's grabbing that right ankle, that left ankle.
So keep an eye on that left ankle for Landry Jones, Oklahoma quarterback. Pistol look here, play fake, fling it back the other way, complete, and now a reversage of field. This is Kenny Stills.
One of the fastest guys on the team, and you can see how he uses that speed. That's a design play for the other side of the field. Hit it and go. He didn't like what he saw. Came all the way back across the field. Landry Jones was not moving very well. He didn't turn his feet on that throw. He threw it without his feet. If that's a problem, that may manifest itself later on in lack of accuracy.
Yeah, one thing you've seen with every Oklahoma quarterback, they wear that brace on the left knee. Become more popular with a lot of drop back quarterbacks to try to protect that front leg. Doesn't protect against those lower leg injuries, and you're right, looks like he's limping a bit on that left ankle.
That's the backup redshirt freshman Drew Allen. Finch, first down Oklahoma.
But I'm guessing, Coach, if you're from Artesia, New Mexico, you're probably a tough kid.
You're a tough kid. You got to be tough out there.
Now
you got to be tough just to find your way home. Yeah. I had a hard time finding it from Eugene, Oregon.
This is Finch again. Second level, keeps on fighting. Roy Finch.
You know, the offensive line talked about how fun he is to block for because he can make these type of plays. He gets lost in the pile. He's got a spurt of athleticism, and then he can run with power over defenders at the next level.
How impressive is that at 180 pounds, right out of Niceville, Florida last year playing high school football. We've seen a lot of small backs this year. Jaquiz Rogers, Stewart on the other side. It's all about pad level, not necessarily how much you weigh on a scale.
A true freshman backfield behind the sophomore Landry Jones. It's Millard at fullback. It's Roy Finch at tailback, and Finch again picking up positive yards to the 35. That's a gain of 7.
And right now, Oklahoma's controlling the line of scrimmage on the offensive side, too. They're not getting a lot of shots at Finch. He's getting a full running head start through the line of scrimmage into the second level of the Colorado defense.
5.6 average tonight for Finch in the 2 games that he's played for Oklahoma. The average at 6 yards a carry. And we have not seen Moses Madu, a senior who's had a couple of recent fumbles. Therefore, it's Roy Finch and DeMarco Murray getting the carries tonight. This is Finch out of the backfield. If that's a pass, it's incomplete. We'll see. Let's check with Wendy first.
Carter, thank you. We go back out west. A reminder, this game going on over on ABC. Oregon trying to answer that USC touchdown. Darren Thomas to Jeff Mail. The second time tonight these two have hooked up. More offense, go figure, 36-32 Ducks.
Ducks take the lead at the Coliseum here in Norman, Oklahoma. That last play was a rushing play, so a lateral loss of 6, bringing up 3rd and 9 for Oklahoma with the play clock ticking away. Sooners will take a timeout.
This is the first charge timeout for Oklahoma of the first half. 30 seconds.
Let's take a look at our FaceTime profile brought to you by Edward Jones. Gabe Eichard from Oklahoma football, leading a white ribbon campaign against sexual assault on the Oklahoma University campus here in Norman, Oklahoma. Great basketball player as well. 3-time state champ was Gabe Eichard. Our Edward Jones FaceTime profile, also valedictorian at Bishop McGuinness. And yes, he is a zoology major. 4.0 grade point average for Gabe.
Another one of those undersized linemen for Oklahoma. Came in to Norman at about 250 pounds. He's gotten himself up over 280 with lots of hard work. But we watched them warm up tonight as well, Coach. This is a very athletic crew.
Very much so. And he was a tight end to begin with, so he had to put on that weight to move the offensive line.
On 3rd and 9, Jones pass incomplete, intended for Stills. Overshot him with Jimmy Smith in coverage.
Didn't look real comfortable with his footwork right there. And again, I think that ankle's bothering him a little bit because he has been as fluid in the pocket as anybody in the nation so far this season.
You see the old quarterback coach coordinator up here in the booth.
Well, you see it. Once a quarterback coach, always a quarterback. What do you think? You saw him throw that one. I didn't think he used any lower body.
No, but I like the fundamentals here in the booth. You got the feet, you're shuffling the feet.
I got to move when I teach.
Pretty good golf coach, too, Mike. This will be Tress Way punting for Oklahoma. Just the second OU punt tonight. Fair catch called for. Patterson makes the grab. We send it to Wendy.
Carter, thank you. Coming up with the Outback Steakhouse halftime report, Cam Newton does it again. He dominates. Unbeatens, though, tend to struggle on the road, and a performance of the ages by Roy Halou Jr. I'm joined by Todd McShay. Coming up, the Outback Steakhouse halftime report. We'll see you in just a few minutes.
Well, if the run last week by Cam Newton didn't put him at the top of the Heisman, I think maybe that catch. What a great catch by Cam Newton.
He reminds me of LeBron James. He is just a man amongst boys in nearly every phase, be it from the pocket, outside the pocket, and even, as you saw today, the highlight jumping up over the defenders for the touchdown reception.
Colorado, 4 of their 6 drives have been 3 and out. They can ill afford one here as Hawkins passes tipped away from Clemens. Jamel Fleming bats it away.
And Cody only 7 of 17 tonight. And again, he's a more accurate passer than this, but the defense is playing very, very well. They're right on the receiver. Great job by Fleming to tip the ball away and not interfere with the receiver.
If you can't hit those shots down the field, and we really only saw the one go route against, that gives the defense and a cornerback a lot of confidence to sit on these routes.
You're right. You're never going to get a cushion unless you go by him and catch the ball.
If your quarterback is 7 for 17 and your goal is to control the clock, why is Colorado throwing the football so much? Stewart wrapped up there as though you knew what was coming.
Well, not only because of that run defense you see there, but you have one-on-one coverage. You know, Tom Moore, the old offensive coordinator in Indianapolis, said, my job as a coach is to get you players in one-on-one situations, and then your job is to win. And we talked about the inability to win deep down the field, and that gives that defense and Brent Venables, defense coordinator at Oklahoma, more confidence that I can play man-to-man and stuff this box and stuff the run. You got to beat me outside.
And they're trying to look for plays that will win first down. They've rarely done that tonight.
So it's 3rd and 10 again. Draw, Jefferson picks up maybe 3. It'll be the 5th 3 and out of the first half for Colorado. Oklahoma takes a timeout to preserve the clock at minute 33.
There's a good shot of Brent Venables, and playing a lot of man-to-man on the early downs, and that's about the 5th, 3rd, and long situation for Colorado, and you can play the deep cover too. And trust the speed and athleticism of your defense. A very sound first half defensively for Brent Venables' group.
It has been Roadblock Saturday. 6 undefeated teams on the road. Right before us, it was Auburn. No problems really at Ole Miss. Oregon and USC locked in a close one right now. It's 36-32, Oregon leading at USC. Still to come tonight, TCU at Sam Boyd Stadium in Las Vegas.
You look at Auburn and Oregon. Do you think this trend of up-tempo and fast-paced no-huddle is a trend we're going to see more of?
I do, because you're already seeing more no-huddle. You haven't seen the fast tempo take on because it takes really a commitment by coaches and players. Blocked, safety. Great job. They put that block up when they got the chance to call the timeout, working with the special teams to get that big play.
Javon Harris blocks it. That's a safety.
2-point safety for Oklahoma.
Which also means Oklahoma's going to get the ball back anyway, because they're going to have to kick it from the 20. Another chance to score in this half.
Well, you talk about a physical edge that you wanted to have, that competitively a week ago in Columbia, Missouri, you didn't come out to play. In all phases today, and especially defensively and here in the special teams, you're setting the edge.
And they set that block. Their punter drifts to the right, and again, they came off that left defensive edge or right side of the Colorado line, which is right where the punter's going.
Harris gets the punt block. The nightmarish special teams from Colorado in 2010 continue. That's the first OU punt block since the 2008 season. And it goes for a safety to give the Sooners a 19-point edge on Colorado. And the good day continues. Now, good day continues for Oklahoma. 22-3 lead here against Colorado. It's gone final in Austin with Baylor beating Texas, although that means that Baylor solidifies their lead atop the Big 12 standings. And who going into 2010 would have predicted that? So Grossnickel will punt from the 20 after the safety. Broyles is the return man, fields it at the 31. Already 2 touchdowns tonight for Broyles, and he returns this one back to the 48. Minute 22 left on the clock. OU ball.
And sometimes you try to be cute with that rugby-style kick and get yourself in trouble.
Well, especially because the overlay that side came right up between there, got us crack in the backside protection. And again, the punter rolling to that side made it a shorter distance for the rush team.
And now with offsides against the kicking team.
And the margin of error is so small for Colorado tonight. And if you're a Colorado fan, and Dan Hawkins has seen this script, remember just 2-21 on the road as head coach at Colorado.
Lost 14 straight road games as Colorado. DeMarco Murray splits out of the backfield. Landry Jones setting up the screen. It's batted and incomplete. It was Tyler Alice who got a hand on it.
Nice job reading that screen, coming back across the middle to get in the way. Again, they're going to empty by motion to try to get either one-on-one coverage or to get an empty middle of the field to attack with the screen.
Blitz coming. Jones picks it up, finds Murray out of the backfield on second down. DeMarco Murray across the 39-yard line. That's first down number 17 tonight.
They're doing something interesting with Murray out of the backfield. He's stepping forward like he's going to block, and then he's releasing. And again, the rusher coming on just comes after the quarterback, leaving Murray uncovered down the field.
Jones to the end zone. Flag down. Kenny got his feet tangled up with Jaleel Brown. Looks to be pass interference on Brown.
Had a step on him, but if it's unintentional, a lot of times that is not called. If they feel intentionally he steps on the receiver, it can be pass interference.
I think that's exactly. There you go.
Defensive pass interference. Second down.
And that's good refereeing. That's exactly what you talked about. Those guys trying to get to an understanding, those referees, of whether that was incidental contact and the feet get tangled. And you see with the replay here, I think that's exactly what happens.
I think it's a good call also. The officials call pass interference too much anyway, from my liking. And I was an offensive coach, so I'd probably going the wrong way for saying that.
Remember, in college, it's 15 yards. If the play goes beyond 15 yards, not a spot foul like it is in the NFL. Landry Jones on second down and 10 now. It's Murray again out of the backfield. Nice block on the edge, allowing Murray to pick for an OU first down. It was Tyler Evans, the right guard, blocking for it.
These screens accomplish two things. Number one, you get your athletes in space, and number two, you get a very athletic group, maybe undersized up front, playing to an offensive line strength with this screen game.
Before the chains are set, Oklahoma has the ball snap, moving again. Pump from Jones, throw it to the sideline, incomplete.
That fade stop that you talked about, again, not quite successful, but you're absolutely right, Brock. The screens, and Colorado's not matching up with the screens right now because their underneath coverage guys are not getting there to break it up before it gets started.
Kenny Stills, the intended receiver.
And that may be the athleticism of that offensive line, getting on those guys before, and they can't escape those blocks down the field.
41 ticks left. You see Oklahoma has one timeout left. That's the yellow notch below Oklahoma. Fusion here, getting the play off. 5 seconds, they get the snap, screen, Jones complete, Murray on the edge. Murray diving near another OU first down. This could be close. He stays in bounds. If it's a first down, the clock will stop temporarily to move the chains.
And lots of man-to-man coverage. If Colorado's going to continue to play all this press man outside, and as you said, get these linebackers tangled up with the linemen, run these screens until they stop it.
It is first down for the Sooners. Jones to Murray again. Basically the same play. This time Murray steps out. You'll see that from Oklahoma too. Same play.
Yeah, this was a pass play. They're just getting the ball on the outside, letting him run. It's also smart because he can get as much yardage as he can and then step out of bounds to stop the clock.
Oklahoma 3 times in the red zone, a pair of field goals and a touchdown. Play number 51 by Oklahoma of the first half is a touchdown. James Hanna holds it in. Touchdown pass number 3 for Landry Jones.
And James Hanna, his 4th consecutive game with a touchdown. Just watch the body control here to get inside the safety, and you give your quarterback confidence when you show him that number. And we've all seen tonight, Jones very accurate. You give him a target, he's going to hit it.
And Oklahoma, as you said, on a pace to run over 100 plays in this game.
Basically a 9-point swing as Oklahoma gets a safety on a punt block, get the football back with just over a minute to go and turn that into 7 points. Landry Jones to James Hanna. Whole lot going on this weekend in the Metroplex, as they call it. You can catch up with it all at ESPNDallas.com. Rangers in the World Series, Stars in action, Mavs in action, Cowboys meltdown. Plus, Tim McMahon has a great piece on Landry Jones. Is he the best quarterback in the Big 12? And you can look at our 3 smiling faces with a recap after this one on ESPNDallas.com.
Well, you make your home down in Texas. Do the Rangers have a chance?
Well, a 4-2 win tonight is what the bottom line tells me. So, yes, indeed, fighting back from that 0-2 deficit. Well, don't ever count a Nolan Ryan-led franchise out of anything. Otherwise, he'll put you in a headlock and put a good beating on you, Brock.
He'll throw the high hard one.
Yeah, he'll do that too, all of them.
Well, I think Oklahoma has answered the call of their head coach. He wanted them to come out and play physical. They have set the tone. They've set the tempo. They've taken care of the football after a couple slow starts in the red zone, settling for field goals. Much better execution in the second quarter.
Colorado's last win against Georgia. They rushed for 235 yards in Boulder. Tonight, only 40 rushing yards in the first half. They're down 26 with 17 seconds to go in the second quarter. So Colorado talked about time of possession, running the football, keeping it away from the big play Oklahoma offense. Instead, 5 3-and-outs in the first half. The first down count goes 20-4 in Oklahoma's favor.
And that's exactly what Colorado did not want. They needed to possess the football to get first downs and to stop Oklahoma on third down. And unfortunately, they haven't got that many third downs because Oklahoma's been so effective on first and second down.
Hawkins, long drop on first down. Cody Hawkins looking for Scotty McKnight off his fingertips, incomplete. 11 seconds to go.
And that's what they need. Offensively, if you don't loosen up this Oklahoma defense, they're going to continue to sit on you and suffocate your offense.
And Scotty McKnight usually sure-handed. That ball, again, there's been 2 or 3 passes tonight that could have been caught or should have been caught by the Colorado receivers. They need to support Cody Hawkins right now.
This will be the 31st play of the game for Colorado. Oklahoma has run 51 plays in the first half. Buffalo's not playing the game of keep away they had hoped to, as Hawkins goes down with a sack. He threw that ball incomplete, and we should have intentional grounding here.
No, I think it's going to be okay. There was a receiver standing right there, 24, in the vicinity. And again, that's a forward pass.
I don't think so.
I mean, we know you headed the rules committee here.
No, there was a receiver there again. But again, that's a judgment decision.
Not reviewable by any analysts in the booth, this call.
Corner blitz comes along with Alexander from the side.
34 standing there again. They didn't have enough oomph on the ball to get it close.
That's intentional
In
grounding.
the grasp, in the grasp.
4 Colorado penalties, 0 against Oklahoma.
I mean, just about as sound a half of football as we have seen from anybody this season for Oklahoma.
Let her run the football right here so we don't have to do one more play.
Jefferson just goes down. That'll be the final play. So Oklahoma last week lost with a number 1 next to their name, up 29-3 on Colorado now. As we send you to the studio, Wendy Nix, Outback Steakhouse halftime report. Happy Halloween Eve from Norman, Oklahoma. It's 29-3 Oklahoma on Colorado. I'm Carter Blackburn with former Oregon coach Mike Bellotti, former Washington quarterback Brock Heward. If the question was how does Oklahoma respond from the loss last week against Missouri when they were number 1, you have to say 29-3 at the half. Pretty good response.
It's a good response, but I'm telling you what, Bob Stoops is telling his team at halftime, there's one more thing we have to do, fight on through the fourth quarter. He talked about we haven't finished games very well. That's something he'll challenge his team, no matter what the score is, to do tonight.
Very sound fundamentally on both sides and on pace for over 700 yards of offense. I'd say pretty good first 30 minutes.
51 plays in the first half for the Oklahoma Sooners, trying to win their 35th consecutive home game. Our Timberland game track, Ryan Broyles, after his first touchdown grab of the night, goes 81 yards. Javon Harris with the punt block for a safety, first in a year and a half for Oklahoma. That set up the 3rd touchdown pass of the night from Landry Jones to James Hanna. 4th straight game with a touchdown for James Hanna. Broyles with a electric first half for Oklahoma. A pair of touchdown grabs. 6 catches, 127 yards in the first half for Broyles. Touchback on the opening kickoff of the second half. Oklahoma will take it at the 20. Let's go back to our Chick-fil-A drive recap. Last time Oklahoma had the football, and this is not the same play over and over again. It just looks like it.
No, it's screen after screen after screen. And one thing we saw with Oklahoma in watching their game film, Kevin Wilson is not afraid to continue to call the same play at times back to back to back. If you've had success, run it until they stop it.
He's got a great matchup, getting the ball in the flat to DeMarco Murray and then let him run.
So the first play from scrimmage of the second half is a handoff to DeMarco Murray. Keeps the legs churning through the hit from Michael Sapili to pick up 5 yards.
I would imagine one of the halftime adjustments, if you're Colorado and you've got gassed repeatedly, it looks like a Sooner is down on that screen, is they have played all that press man coverage, but ultimately you've got to start to mix it up defensively.
Yeah, I would somehow roll a corner, Tampa 2, do something to get a presence in the flat that can stop the screen before it gets started and take on the blocker. Right now they're running the receiver out of there, cracking down with him, and it takes the corner out of the play. They've got to find some way to hold up more or better in the flats on defense.
That's Tyler Evans, the sophomore right guard, who is slow getting up from that play. Evans, one of the pulling guards.
And he's one of the big kids. He's about 326 pounds, and where everybody else had to lose some weight, he's one of the big fellas that's had to keep his weight down. Once again, not just on those screens are they willing to get those linemen out. That's a tough collision right there to the knee.
Those are 2 great blocks, though, in space. Again, they covered up those defensive players. They had no chance. And again, defensively, what you do is you take those guys low. You don't take them high because you got no chance. You try to cut their legs out from them. You destroy the blocking ability for them to get downfield.
Looks like they're actually working a bit on the neck there.
I think he hit his head, his neck on the ground because, again, he went over the top so fast, he didn't expect quite that cut action from the Colorado DB.
And I guess 330 pounds isn't used to falling into the ground at quite that force. You see the chunk of grass right in the face mask.
It looks like an unexpected headstand right here. And, again, just driven right into the ground.
Layout. So Evans heads to the Oklahoma sideline. All set for 2nd and 6. Jones from the shotgun, complete. Broyles with his first grab of the second half, 7th of the game.
And again, you notice that time a zone coverage concept with corners in the flats, but now they expose the middle of the field, and Oklahoma and Landry Jones very comfortable taking that inside throw.
Brian LePack now in at right guard for Oklahoma with Tyler Evans on the sideline. He's the backup center, also obviously backing up right guard. Play fake on 1st down. Landry Jones to the air. It's Broyles again. Makes the grab. Ooh. Touchdown number 3 for Ryan Broyles. This one goes for 64.
And once again, I'm not sure you can throw a ball any better. Hit a guy on full stride right over the shoulder, and again, key block down the field from his partner receiver to free him to get to the end zone.
Yeah, the true freshman Kenny Stills may not be getting a lot of balls outside tonight, but he's got some oohs and ahs from the 85,000 in this stadium. Watch him come into the screen and just light up the block.
The other thing you see Broyles, you see him just look back and look at both defenders and sort of take a path between them that was the least path of resistance to the end zone. That's what they talked about, his peripheral vision, ability to see the ball, and then watch this block one more time. This is a decleater, as they call it.
Just before the snap, they're going to take a look to see if Broyles got in the end zone at the end of that 64-yard play.
That's called helping your buddy out down the field. And Broyles has gashed any of the zones between the hashes tonight. No chance for Colorado. That looks like a touchdown.
And I'll tell you what, the difference between good offense and great offense is blocking down the field. No matter if it's a running play or a pass play, is getting your receivers to be comfortable and to be agreeable to blocking down the field. I think that's all the way a touchdown. He clears the plane. Nothing is down. Great body control. Great ball control.
Yeah, Kevin Wilson was pretty honest with us yesterday, and he said, you know what? Ryan Broyles at times has his own feel. But maybe the route's designed to be 12 yards or he's to cut it 15 yards, but he has such an innate ability to sense what's going on around him. And you just watch him tonight. That's twice now on these seam patterns down the field that he understands leverage. He understands just creating that little window for the quarterback to fit that ball in.
And you can tell that he's healthier tonight. He's a step quicker than he was last week against Missouri.
Further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. Touchdown.
Meaning it's career highs for Ryan Broyles in receiving yards and touchdowns. Those marks he set the last home game against Iowa State as he continues a terrific junior season.
And Landry Jones well over, I'm going to guess, 350 now in passing.
And you feel the continuity between those two, quarterback and receiver. Talk about the feel that Broyles has. Boy, the sense of timing between those two is really good stuff.
Indeed, you are correct. 367 passing for Landry Jones. 4 touchdowns. It's turning into an Oklahoma rout. 33-point edge. A look at Oklahoma football we promise you have never seen before. This is a look from our exclusive look from Coffer Cam on the Boomer Schooner. This is the wagon that runs around the field. I'm not sure that many folks would say they would like this look of the horse's rear end, but nonetheless, giving you a look at Oklahoma football you've never seen right up the tunnel. And by the way, the Boomer Schooner, the wagon itself, the Conestoga wagon, that is the official mascot of OU.
How would you like to ride that from the East Coast all the way to the lands of Oklahoma? That might get a little sore. I don't think they ran that fast, but still.
And in case you're wondering what the Sooner is, that basically alludes to the land rush, the Oklahoma land rush, and those who maybe left a little soon as they were supposed to get the land. But that is a tradition that is honored here.
They're just quicker than the others. Just a little bit like this Oklahoma football team.
Quick with the land grab and the snap. This is Trayvon Patterson cutting it back. Good return from Patterson for the Buffaloes across the 40, answering the Oklahoma touchdown. Let's go back to that third touchdown catch from Broyles.
Yeah, we've seen Broyles in the slot in all different functions today, and if you're a free safety tonight, after all the damage that Broyles has done, Ray Polk, you get flat-footed, you lose your eyes for 1 second, and you're dead. That's all the difference it takes when a quarterback and a receiver are on the same page.
And again, the play-action fake causes your eyes not to be right.
So it's a 33-point edge for Oklahoma as Colorado gets the football for the first time in the third quarter. Cody Hawkins quarterbacking Colorado, completing to Paul Richardson, true freshman who was dismissed from UCLA, ended up at Colorado. DeMontre Hurst on the stop.
They like Paul Richardson a lot. They say he's the fastest, maybe most explosive receiver they got. Very inexperienced, true freshman. But again, they like him. And he and Cody have a little bit of chemistry because they worked on the second team together most of this season.
This is 2nd down and 1. Stewart running behind the left side of that line, anchored by Nate Solder, the 6'9", 315-pound left tackle on that Colorado offensive line, named this week a finalist for the Campbell Trophy, which they say is the kind of the Heisman Trophy academically for student athletes. Graduated already with a biology degree, now a master's degree program in integrative physiology.
A 415-pound clean, 7% body fat. That's why those NFL scouts are enamored with him.
He is number 18 on Mel Kiper's big board of NFL draft prospects. And Solder rolling the pocket for Colorado. Hawkins pass incomplete, intended for Richardson. What used to be called the Draddy Trophy, now called the Campbell Trophy, given by the National Football Foundation. Some excellent scholars and scholar athletes. I mean, that's a great list of football players, including a couple Heisman Trophy winners.
Is that right, Stone Phillips?
Right, another broadcaster.
Wow.
Yale University, Steve Young at BYU. He is a finalist.
A few quarterbacks on there: Baker, Beeben, Young,
Mark Harmon. Don't forget about him.
Doug Flutie. Yeah, that's. Is your name on there?
No.
No, Brock, you were academic all Pac-10, right? Is that right?
I don't know if I had the football to match, though, unfortunately.
Cody Hawkins eludes the pass rush from Jeremy Beal. Steps up, throws to a wide open receiver. It's Scotty McKnight for a touchdown. Beal nearly got to Hawkins. Instead, it's a 51-yard touchdown pass play. The Buffs are finally in the end zone.
Two wily veterans. Cody Hawkins keeping his eyes downfield even as he's scrambling, and Scotty McKnight working to get open, and then knowing he can't beat them with the speed, but cutting back to score the easy touchdown.
Keep the play alive. We've seen this a number of times tonight. You would expect it from the fifth-year senior. He's not a scrambler. He does not lose vision. Has that feel for the all-time leader in the history of Colorado in reception, Scotty McKnight.
4th touchdown catch of the year for Scotty McKnight. Longest Colorado play of the game as the Buffaloes are in the end zone. Flag down.
It's now Oklahoma 36, Colorado 10.
Offside. Defense. Number 21. Penalty would be declined.
Can we get on the kick?
Cody Hawkins says,
Can we get it on the kick?
Yeah, can we take it on the kick? Yeah. Does it surprise you? He wants to be a coach.
ESPN's College Football Primetime. Brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun.
'85 championship team honored here at halftime, coached by Barry Switzer. That was a Team that went 11-1. The only loss of the year was home to Miami. Starting quarterback Troy Aikman, and he went down against Nebraska, so it was Jamel Holloway, the dual threat quarterback. Brian Bosworth, the sophomore on that team. Keith Jackson, the tight end, a sophomore on that team as well. They beat Penn State in the Orange Bowl to capture the 1985 National Championship.
Even back then, very important to have two quality quarterbacks.
A couple of them, George Troy Aikman, then transferred to UCLA. And he had a pretty good career after that. Well, the closest chase in history is headed to Talladega, a track known for taking out contenders in cup races for years. Jimmy Johnson, Denny Hamlin, and the rest of the crowded field. Chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup continues. The AMP Energy Juice 500 at Talladega, ESPN, tomorrow at 1 Eastern. Only 4 races remain.
Speaking of Talladega, did Ricky Bobby show up as the guest predictor
today?
What
did Lee say?
Will Ferrell.
Not so fast, Anchorman. I thought that was the best line through the giant mask. Corso going as himself. That's DeMarco Murray getting a 10.
And DeMarco Murray running with more power this year. This is the first year he's been healthy from season to season, so he can actually work out, improve his fitness, and he's ready to go.
Murray picks up the first down here.
And I think that's lost on many people. It is what they factor in. They see the injuries during the season, but they don't realize how much you lose out on between January and August when you're rehabbing and it's surgery and it's torn hamstring and it's dislocated kneecap. You lose that opportunity to get better in the offseason.
So did some MMA training. He says he spent a lot of time in the baths, hot bath, cold bath. Jones fires incomplete, intended for Broyles, and some yoga stretching, trying to keep all those muscle groups loosened up, healthy.
Well, it's your primary opportunity to gain strength and or to work on speed or agility, athleticism. In season, you can't work on that. You're doing game plan, you practice, but in the off season is when you can make the gains, strength, flexibility, etc., to protect you throughout the season.
Murray, second down handoff. He now holds the Oklahoma career touchdown record, 59 career touchdowns. That breaks Steve Owens' 41-year-old mark. You think about all of the great players, wide receivers, running backs who have come through Oklahoma, and DeMarco Murray. I think if you polled a lot of even Oklahoma fans, I'm not sure how many would name DeMarco Murray. Now an incomplete intended for Broyles.
He's just one of the best all-around football players. When you're talking about somebody that could play fullback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, he could do it all. He probably could play anywhere on defense in the backside too. But again, and return punts and kickoffs. So amazing career.
And that production pretty phenomenal when you factor in how much time he has missed and been beaten up over his career here in Norman.
DeMarco Murray has a great sense of Oklahoma running back history, too, including Joe Washington, who's become a mentor for him here. As Patterson makes a grab at the 20. And speaking of great Oklahoma running backs, the guy who DeMarco Murray broke the record, Steve Owens, who had that record for 41 years, Greg Pruitt here in the early 70s. Then there's Joe Washington in the mid-70s. And he just gave it to Billy Sims. They kept it rolling. Marcus Dupree. 1.5 years as a Sooner. We know about Adrian Peterson, and now we know about DeMarco Murray. Marcus Dupree, if you don't know much about his career, there's another great 30 for 30 documentary film coming on ESPN about Marcus Dupree. It's been a terrific series. I think one of the best things on television last year. That series of 30 for 30 premieres Tuesday, November 9th, 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. We got a little sneak preview of that earlier today. Looks like a interesting look.
I'm going to watch that one. That one piqued my interest. And again, I had to defend. Of all those guys, I would vote for Adrian Peterson because I had to defend him 3 years in a row. 204, 5, and 6 in the bowl game and regular season. He is an amazing running back. He's done it again at the next level. But they're all great.
Well, we haven't discussed your previous trip to Norman as the coach of the Oregon Ducks.
We probably don't want to discuss that one, to tell you the truth. It was close into about the middle of the third quarter. Then they brought in Adrian Peterson, made his debut against us, and I think he had 100 yards in the fourth quarter.
From Palestine, Texas, is Rodney Stewart, junior running back from Westerville, Ohio. Talked about how he was a lightly recruited player, MAC schools were offering the opportunity to walk on, but continuing a tradition out of Brookhaven High School, Terry Glenn walked on at Ohio State, ended up being a fantastic player for Ohio State in the NFL. Now Rodney Stewart ends up being one of the great backs in Colorado history, lightly recruited out of Brookhaven High School. Back Darrell Scott, who was a huge recruit for Colorado, ended up transferring because Rodney Stewart beat him out at that running back position. He's now at South Florida.
Well, one of the challenges and the reason Stewart was lightly recruited is you're 5'6", 170 pounds. And as you see here with Cody Hawkins, this is the third or fourth tip pass tonight. And one of the challenges, likewise, when you're a 5'10", 5'11" quarterback, a number of those passes can get batted down at the line of scrimmage.
Jeremy Beal got to that one, the great pass rushing defensive end for Oklahoma. 5 sacks away from the Oklahoma record there is Jeremy Beal. Stewart takes it on second down into the OU secondary for a Colorado first down to the 46.
You know, more walk-ons make it now because more young men, they grow at a different rate. They mature at a different rate. A lot of times in high school, some of the smaller guys you're unwilling to take the chance on. Other times, people grow into their body at different levels. All of a sudden, there are kids that we didn't look at that are playing in the NFL today. So it's a matter of maturation at what time.
And a lot of times you wonder, a guy of that size and stature, how willing is he going to be to run amongst those huge, massive men between the tackles? I think you see with Stewart and his production over the years, very willing.
149 in the last Colorado win. That was over Georgia. Hawkins to the air, incomplete, intended for Paul Richardson. Hurst there in coverage.
I think Hurst got away with a little bit of an arm bar there. He sort of slowed the receiver down. A receiver looked back like, did you see that, to the official, but got no response. You see again right here. Watch again. He grabs him right there and sort of beats him to the ball, but I think
there's nothing threatening,
though.
There's nothing threatening. You've seen that with the corners tonight, both Hurst and Fleming on the other side. There's no fear of these Colorado receivers running by him, so they're squatting on all these routes.
Richardson goes in motion for 2nd and 10. Play clock winding down, handoff inside. Rodney Stewart bouncing it outside on left side of that offensive line again, running behind Solder.
You know, Stewart has proven that he is, one, tough enough to run inside, as we talked about earlier, but also quick enough and a slasher to get to the outside and put the stress on the defense on the edges.
And I love that shot as he's around his linemen. Just look at the size of those guys for Colorado. 6'9" in Solder, 6'8" for right guard Miller. It's one of the biggest, tallest offensive lines in all of college football.
Colorado has been moving the football all year long. It's just the points on the board that have been lacking. Only one touchdown tonight as Stewart is wrestled down and dropped on 3rd and 1.
You know, he's been tremendously effective this year. 12 out of 13 times in 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1, he's converted. Again, kudos to the Oklahoma defense and stopping him right there.
Travis Lewis and Sam Proctor in on the tackle.
Whenever you're pulling those offensive linemen, penetration destroys those plays. Oftentimes in these 4th and 1s, it's risk reward. If you can get those big fellas out in front, you're going to convert. But you get penetration in the middle of that line, as they Sooners did on that play, it's dead.
Wouldn't be surprised to see a fake here, although Oklahoma's playing solid defense to make sure they don't.
The 7th Colorado punt of the night, caught by Broyles inside the 10, and he is backed up inside the 5. Well, you probably heard about Miami of Ohio as the cradle of coaches. A lot of legendary coaches have come from there. But there's a school out west that has produced many successful coaches. All right, I've got the Grinch and Gumby. Any guesses as to what the furry Halloween costume is?
That's a great question.
Werewolf,
I have no
Teen
idea.
Wolf,
Yeah.
maybe?
Yeah.
Teen Wolf? I think we got that one.
We got that one. I think so.
Yeah. That's obviously an oil can.
Oil can Henry.
Oil can Boyd. And off to the true freshman fullback, Trey Miller. Well, roadblock Saturday, and those Oregon Ducks and the Auburn Tigers have appeared to avoid the roadblock. Now, TCU still playing at UNLV right now, an early 7-0 lead for the Frogs. Road not so kind to Michigan State and Missouri.
When you go on the road, you've got to play your best football. I mean, you go into hostile environments like Nebraska, and you're not sharp, and you give up what they gave up in the run game, now you're going to find a way to lose.
Jones completing out of the backfield to Finch, who takes a pop from Jimmy Smith and hangs on.
Well, there's a difference. You were talking about supporting that outside, the swing passes and the screens, not just playing all that man and running the corners off. Jimmy Smith's a guy very capable when you play that cloud coverage of being the support guy, because he's willing to hit at 6'2" and 210.
3rd and 6. Jones near the goal line, scrambling, sliding near the first down from that spot. It'll be first down, Oklahoma.
Pretty good agility. That looks like that ankle's not bothering him very much. I mean, he ran well, and he had the wherewithal to get down and protect his body.
Jones hit by B.J. Beatty in the first half and was limping on his left ankle for a bit, but as Mike said, scrambling here to pick up the Sooner first down. First down number 24 of the night for Oklahoma.
And just a momentum killer for Colorado. You pin them deep, an excellent punt. You get them into a 3rd and 6 situation, and you can't stop them.
On first down, it's Finch again out of the backfield across the 20 as we check in with Wendy.
Claire, thank you very much. Another unbeaten on the road, TCU playing at Vegas, UNLV, and the Horned Frogs up early. Ed Wesley with the 1-yard touchdown run. It's now 20-0. The start of the second quarter, and this one's the final. Oregon avoids trouble on the road. They defeat USC.
Well, Will Ferrell was wrong about the pick. It was Oregon indeed, as Millard goes rumbling to the 35 for OU. Ducks survived that tough road test, Mike.
Yeah, I thought they would. I thought, again, SC would score points, but Oregon's offense would wear them down, and late in the game, fourth quarter, I thought they would take the lead. But Millard doesn't look like a fullback right there. He looked more like a tailback to me.
Landry Jones on the roll, completing to Rattery. How about the night for Trent Rattery, the former walk-on tight end who had only 5 catches in the previous 7 games. 3 grabs tonight for the Sooners.
And when you run that play, when you start to run the ball and you tie that up with that play-action pass, watch the safeties, watch the linebackers, watch the influence of just enough run game. You get all that movement. Not an easier pitch and catch in football.
Flag down here as Finch spins inside the 10. Rattery had only 84 receiving yards coming into tonight, has 89 tonight.
And that play really epitomizes what Kevin Wilson said to us. He said, you know when our rhythm is? It's not our pace of play and tempo and no huddle. We get into our best rhythm when we can run the ball.
Holding, number 77 of the offense. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Remains first down.
And there are certain quarterbacks that really thrive in the play-action pass game. And Landry Jones, even at his size, and we saw it with the scramble there, Mike, he's athletic enough and he's very comfortable in the play-action pass game.
I think Landry Jones is a good enough athlete to play in any offense. I've said that we recruited him for the Oregon offense. Even though he's not the prototypical spread option guy, he would have been effective in that offense.
On 1st and 20, here's Landry Jones. Again, it's Murray out of the backfield. Minimal gain here. You made the trip to Artesia, New Mexico, didn't you?
I did, and I flew out on a mail plane where luggage was stored with a cargo net, and I was worried for my life, in all honesty. And it was about 32 degrees, and it was probably about 30 degrees inside the plane. I don't think they had air conditioning or any heat control. And we didn't get him, so it was really a cold trip.
On 2nd and 19, Jones completing over the middle. That's Cameron Kenny. How about the praise from Bob Stoops saying that Cooper Henderson, the head coach there at Artesia High School, ran one of the best practices he has ever seen. That is high praise from Bob Stoops, a man who comes from a coaching family himself.
That is, and he's seen a lot of great programs across the nation because of the people they recruit, so that is high praise.
433 passing yards now for Landry Jones. That is a career high. Trying to add to it on 3rd and 12. Stepping in the pocket, throwing, and it is caught. How about the grab in traffic by Trey Franks, the true freshman from West Orange Stark High School?
Well, that's the most dangerous throw tonight from Landry Jones, who had a couple interceptions a week ago. There is a lot of white jerseys and a tremendous amount of clutter for him to fit that third down pass in.
A lot of trust in his wide receiver, and that's only a freshman, but they really like Kenny Stills and Trey Franks, the two true freshman wide receivers. They think that they have, one, the skills to be great, but also the mentality to be great.
That is Chidera Uzo-Duribe, the talented freshman defensive end for Colorado, who's slow getting up after the play.
And it's one thing to get gashed on a seam route and the deep overeat we saw from Broyles earlier. But really a bad sign for you tonight defensively when you've got people covered, you're in the right zones, and you can't find a way to knock that ball down.
Well, that's bouncing back from the poor performance at Missouri with a career high 448, and there's still 5+ in the third quarter. First and goal here for the Sooners. Jones to the corner of the end zone. Flag down. This will be pass interference against Jimmy Smith. Apparently, Kenny, the intended receiver.
You can say that Landry Jones is in the zone right now. He's comfortable throwing any pass. He has total confidence in the receivers, and that he's going to put the ball where it needs to be put for them to catch it or to get the penalty.
Well, it was offensive coordinator Kevin Wilson who said he just seems less stressed this year. Being thrown into that role with Sam Bradford going down.
There is no foul on the play for pass interference. Second down.
No pass interference against Jimmy Smith after all. But I said it was awfully tough for Landry Jones as a freshman to step in and get all those play calls down. Just a lot less stress this season.
Well, it's nice when you can throw 18 screen passes tonight and swing passes, and Ryan Broyles is open. That builds your confidence.
And that pass interference was called off because Jimmy turned back and played the football in the air.
So second and goal for the Sooners. Murray straight ahead. Touchdown, Oklahoma. TD number 60 of DeMarco Murray's Oklahoma career, the all-time Sooner leader.
You know, when you tell kids after they score, act like you've been there before with him 60-plus times.
That's
or
right.
whatever.
And how about the freshman fullback Millard there cutting down the linebacker? They really like Trey Millard, 6'2", 246, leading the way. He's got a lot of football left to play here in Oklahoma. That may have been one of the easier ones in his march to 60 in the school record.
I think Millard could be a Seth Luttrell type fullback for the Oklahoma Sooners. We have the 2000 championship team. PAT is good, 43-10. Now, we told you out west there is a school that has produced football coach after football coach. It's almost becoming the cradle of coaches of the West Coast. Dan Hawkins went to UC Davis, and here are all the great coaches who have spent time at UC Davis. Of course, Paul Hackett, Gary Patterson spent a year there, and Chris Peterson. Brock, that's a great list.
That is a really, really fine list.
And that's
Is that it?
That's it. Those are the great UC Davis coaches, except
Who's this guy?
Is that McConaughey from Dazed and Confused there?
Okay.
Who is that?
All right. I didn't have money for haircuts back then. You know?
That is Mike Bellotti, our beloved fellow broadcaster, former Oregon head coach, and former UC Davis. Yeah, not only a tight end and wide receiver, I mean, they call it the miracle game in Mike Davis's UC Davis career. Let's see, final touchdown, the miracle game. The Aggies beat Cal State Hayward 30-29, 16 points in the final 20 seconds for UC Davis.
Pretty amazing. I will tell you that altered my view of football because I believed then you could win every game you played, no matter what the score was.
Was that called a power stash back in the day? What was that?
What kind of...
I don't know. That was, again, you don't shave, you don't cut your hair. You know?
If
you have a lot of money.
Yeah, if Oklahoma scores a couple more touchdowns, we're going to get a montage of the Mike Bellotti mustaches through the years, I think, and comparing and contrasting.
Paul Hackett was my freshman football coach, actually. I want to set this perspective just a little bit. And I had to coach against Chris Peterson and Dan Hawkins from other schools when I left UC Davis.
When you look at Dan Hawkins, in all seriousness tonight, it's been a rocky 5 years for him at Colorado as an alum and associate at one time. How challenging is this time?
It's very challenging. And again, having your son on the team who's the quarterback, that probably makes it doubly difficult. But basically, it's, he'll be judged on the body of work. He was 19-37 coming into this game, 2-21 on the road. That's very difficult. He's won everywhere else he's been. He's won championships. He's a quality coach. It just hasn't worked out here yet at Colorado.
I was Willamette University, an NAIA school, went to a championship game there, 5 very successful years as head coach at Boise State, but this is year 5 at Colorado, and the wins just haven't been there. He knows better than anyone in today's day and age, after 5 years, if there's not enough wins and losses, then it's going to be a tough sell. But there's still football to be played in 2010. I mean, this is a team that 3-4 right now. They were 3-1 going into Big 12 play. You beat Georgia. It's been a down year for the Dogs, but still, you beat Georgia on your home field. And in dramatic fashion, I mean, they made plays late in the game. They've been dealing with injuries this year. We talked about the quarterback, Tyler Hansen, being out. You're also without your leading tackler now, John Major, out at least 2 weeks with an MCL sprain in his knee, and that kind of continues the bad mojo around Colorado football the last few years.
The one thing, though, Coach Hawk and his other coaches talked about, the players don't seem to be affected by that. They don't really listen to that outside stuff. He thought that they were very focused in practice this week, had a great preparation week in terms of that, but still, they're outmanned here on the field tonight.
I talked to Cody Hawkins this week. Dan's son, quarterback now, he's dropped the pass on second down to Rodney Stewart. And Cody Hawkins plans when football is over with. He wants to get into coaching, but I thought it interesting. Cody said, I want to get into coaching, but I really enjoyed when Dad was a high school coach, a small college coach at Willamette, and then when Boise was still a relatively small program, when Dan Hawkins was there. He said, I like kind of that family atmosphere. It's been a rough 5 years for Cody and Dan Hawkins, the two, and Colorado fans, and that's a difficult dynamic when your son is a quarterback and sometimes not playing great at quarterback, so you go to somebody else at quarterback, and now the son's a backup. Here he is in the starting role again because of the injury to Hansen. On third down, Cody Hawkins completes to McKnight for a Colorado first down.
Coaching is coaching at any level, whether it's high school, JC, college, you do the same things, and you're basically a teacher. There's a lot more trappings surrounding the game at this level, a lot more scrutiny, but it doesn't change the coach-player relationship, and if it does, you shouldn't be coaching. And again, the one thing about Colorado, they can still win a lot of football games this year. They have nothing to worry about now. They can play loose and say, hey, so we didn't win this game. Let's go out and win the next game. Let's play for ourselves. Let's play for the name on the front of the jersey.
Well, they have 3 winnable football games coming up. And they have 3 wins now, so November 6th at Kansas. Then home versus Iowa State, home versus Kansas State before you close out with a trip to Nebraska. So those are 3 winnable football games. I mean, even though it's 0-3 in the Big 12 right now, this is a team that still has a chance of going to a bowl game.
You're right, and 2 of those 3 games are at home, and they obviously play much better at home in terms of the conference.
Hard to believe that this was a Colorado team who was recently at the beginning of this decade. I mean, from 89 to 99, they went 8-0-1 against Oklahoma. Tony Clemens drops that pass.
Well, think back to those years and those teams. Recruiting and talent is the lifeblood of your program. It is. And talking to Dan Hawkins and the shape that the program was in when he took it over, the lack of numbers, the lack of offensive linemen. The problem is no one wants to hear those explanations 5 years later. They want to look at the product on the field, and unfortunately for him, I think the most difficult evidence is what we've seen tonight. An inability to go on the road and find a way to win. Just what they lost tonight would push his career record on the road to 2-22.
At Colorado, and 15 straight. Flag down. False start.
And the one thing he's talked about is he and his staff.
False start. Number 17 of the offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains third down.
He and his staff have improved the strength quotient and the speed quotient of the players in the program significantly, but it hasn't resulted in the needed wins on the field.
These teams met twice in the Big 12 championship in the early days. Colorado from Big 12 North, Oklahoma for the Big 12 South. All Oklahoma with a 33-point lead as Hawkins rolls and throws on 3rd and 10.
Oh no, his foot's on the line!
I think he bobbled it. He caught it in bounds.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I'm going to say catch by Paul Richardson.
Give him possession. You see it here coming down the field. Nice move there to freeze the defender. Broke outside. Has to have control. Ooh, I think they gave him that call.
Now just 1 foot in bounds is the rule in college as opposed to 2 in the National Football League. Play will be under review.
I thought they might. It looked like he was bobbling the ball going out of bounds. The foot was in bounds, no question, I believe, but he did not show complete possession to me. We don't see it as much from this angle. The foot is in bounds, but he's bobbling the ball. I think he steps out of bounds. I think this may get overturned.
The definition of the rule: a player gains possession when he secures the ball firmly by holding or controlling it while contacting the ground in bounds. The ball is then in player possession.
Actually, with that view, it doesn't look like it's ever not in control. So again, I'm not sure there's enough to overturn it. From that angle, it looks like it was rolling in his hands. But again, he possesses the ball. Foot's definitely in bounds, got the ball, but it just looked like he left possession for 1 split second, but might have regained it before his foot touched down out of bounds.
The other California receiver for Colorado, Trayvon Patterson, has an ankle injury. His return is questionable.
And that hurts him more in special teams. He's very dangerous as a kickoff returner, punt returner. He's got great speed. They've sort of waited for him to ignite the spark as a receiver. He hasn't been as consistent catching the ball, but he definitely can fly.
And that's Richardson, and when you hear a coaching staff say he is our most explosive player, that speaks to some of the challenges of recruiting. He's a kid that came into Colorado very late, was one of the 3 kids at UCLA that Rick Neuheisel dismissed from his program. He comes in 2 days before camp, and now he is your most explosive playmaker.
I mean, in the receiving corps, you have Scotty McKnight, who walked on, Tony Clemens, who's a Michigan transfer, Trayvon Patterson, USC transfer, and Paul Richardson, who began his career at UCLA. And that's your top 4 receivers.
They've had some turnover at the offensive coordinator, wide receiver coach positions on the team and the staff, and that may be one of the answers. But they've been attractive enough and obviously been a place that some of these transfers felt they could go and play, and I think it's definitely improved the caliber.
What's the difference? Because it is Carter alluded to there, and we can all remember the years, the Bill McCartney years in the heyday.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed as a catch. First down.
And it's Cordell Stewart, and it's Darian Hagan, and it's the Michael Westbrook and the star talent. You can still recruit that to Colorado, can't you?
I believe so. I don't know about their facilities. That's always a question nowadays in this arms race is how are the facilities? It's a great stadium on campus, beautiful setting. I know a lot of people say it's a great place to live and that type of thing. So, but success on the field predicates a lot of decisions.
Hawkins heaves it deep on 1st and 10, batted away. Richardson intended again. We check in with Wendy.
Carter, thank you very much. Utah State on the road at Nevada. Colin Kaepernick here has 102 rushing yards in this game. Here's how he got 59. That'll make it 28-0. It's now 35-0. Remember, Nevada and Boise State poised to face off November 26th.
Kaepernick is the poor man's Cam Newton. Maybe not the size and the girth, but he is an explosive talent in the WAC.
Brock, you mentioned Darian Hagan, star quarterback, late 80s, Colorado. He's now the running backs coach for the Colorado Buffaloes. This is the 20th anniversary of that championship year. Incomplete. Clemens nearly comes down with a great grab. Jamel Fleming there in coverage to knock it away. 20 years ago, Eric Bieniemy, 1,700 rushing yards. Hagan there at quarterback. It makes it even tougher when you're in year 5 as coach of the Colorado Buffaloes and you're on the verge of 0-4 in the Big 12. People are celebrating the 20th anniversary of that national championship. Bill McCartney's team.
20 years is a long time. Long time in recruiting. Most young people's memories go back 3 or 4 years in terms of college football.
Hawkins long drop to the air again on 3rd and 10. Incomplete, intended for Richardson. Hurst nearly got his hands on it. Fourth down coming up for Colorado. Cody Hawkins and the Buffalo offense stays on the field.
Well, those last 3 plays, pretty indicative. All situations where you scheme one-on-one opportunities, be it on a wheel route, a couple go routes, and just not capable, talent-wise, execution-wise, to deliver a play. Be a playmaker in those situations.
Well, and great coverage down the field. Jameel Fleming, even though he's the boundary corner, they talk about him being the best cover corner they have. Tampa 2 coverage here. Get somebody in the flat.
Incomplete, intended for Clemens. Fleming there in coverage. This week on ESPN's Monday Night Football, a critical win in the AFC South. Texans-Colts, 8:30 Eastern. Coverage begins 7 Eastern with Monday Night Countdown served by Applebee's. Texans only 2 wins all time against the Indianapolis Colts. One of those coming in Week 1 this year. So Arian Foster and Peyton Manning's numbers from Week 1 when the Texans defeated the Colts despite pretty good numbers from Peyton.
Brock, can you explain that to me when you throw those kind of numbers up there and you lose? I mean, wow.
Well, I think when a guy runs for 240 yards against you, it's a tough day.
Brock, the backup for Peyton Manning and the Indianapolis Colts as Murray picks up a couple. What are the main things you picked up from being in those QB meetings with Peyton Manning?
Oh, he's brilliant. As much as you want to talk about his talent and his ability to throw and his accuracy, I have never, even in any career beyond football and the other things I've been fortunate to be around, one of the 3 brightest guys that I've ever spent time with. His ability to take in so much information and process it as rapidly as he does. Again, all of the things you don't talk about as a quarterback. Landry Jones, we spent time tonight. You see the highlights and the yards. You don't look at him running this system. All the checks at the line of scrimmage, making sure you get people in the right spot. Peyton was and is at a level unlike anybody else on the planet.
3rd and 5 here for Landry Jones. You see him getting the offense lined up. Only 1 deep safety back for Colorado. Jones takes a look at that. Splits Murray out of the backfield. Throwing on 3rd down. Dropped by Brandon Caleb, senior from Richmond, Virginia. Now, I want to go back to getting everybody set. I mean, how big of a challenge is that for Landry Jones when you've got the up-tempo, trying to snap it quickly type of offense?
Well, you said it yourself earlier, and when you quoted Kevin Wilson, is how much more comfortable he is year 2. Peyton's been in the same system for 13 years. I mean, he knows that like the back of his hand, so he's able to play so fast. And you see now with Landry Jones in his 18th start how much more at ease he is with handling every nuance within this system.
Tressway's punt. Short one, down to the 28, takes an Oklahoma roll all the way to the 13. You can build your own campus from scratch with ESPNU Collegetown. Find your school, pick your buildings, recruit players. You can even challenge friends across the country. Go to BeTheDean.com, like millions have. Start playing now, BeTheDean.com.
I wonder if ADs are looking at trying to figure out and taking some ideas about where I should put my dorms and this or that, the facilities. And
well, this is a pretty good setup here. We've seen a lot in college football. I've been fortunate to be around a lot of really good facilities. Where what Oklahoma has built here with all of their decades of success and tradition, Be the Dean, this would be a good one to try to mimic.
We talked about how Colorado football down after those great years. I mean, it was only as Hawkins sends that one incomplete. Intended for the cornerback Hurst. But, I mean, when Bob Stoops took over this program, this seems like a long time ago, beginning of the Big 12. The 3 years prior to his arrival, Oklahoma went 8-16 in the first 3 years of the Big 12. Since then, 79-18, with the Big 12 leading 6 conference titles for the native of Youngstown, Ohio.
Bob Stoops is an outstanding football coach. He does a great job. I don't think sometimes he's as appreciated as he should be. But again, after a loss, everybody doesn't quite appreciate the head coach. But he recruits well, he coaches well, his teams are prepared, and they're talented. But they use that talent to their advantage.
That's Stewart for a pickup of 7, 2000 national championship. And when you look at Oklahoma, I mean, last year was a disappointing season with 4 losses. Now, they had their starting quarterback, the #1 pick in the NFL draft, out for most of the year. Then this year, I mean, what does it say about last year's Oklahoma team that Sam Bradford went 1, Gerald McCoy 3, Trent Williams 4, Jermaine Gresham 21. That's 4 of the top 21 picks in the NFL draft off of the Oklahoma Sooner football team of 2009.
Well, what it says is you send that DVD of the first round to every recruit.
Pass incomplete intended for Clemens.
Maybe including the signing bonuses of a few of those guys as well.
Well, there's no question that enters into recruiting. The concept of being a farm club for the NFL, where are you going to go where you get the best opportunity for exposure, best coaching, and that type of thing. Many schools across the nation use that as a recruiting ploy.
Do you think more so now than, and you were around it a long time, Mike, and not to age you by any means, but do you think more so now than decades ago?
Yes, simply because the sports athlete is making so much money. It's unbelievable. And they deserve it because it's a physical game and the career could end at any time. But it's, again, and not a lot of people make it at the NFL level. But those that do, and those that can play and get the salaries for and the tenure to get retirement, etc. It's an amazing profession. And you get paid to play the game you love.
Now, Bob Stoops this year has played more true freshmen than he has at any time in his career. 13 true freshmen. That's something that has changed a little bit for Bob Stoops in playing true freshmen, and in part because guys leaving a year early for the NFL being more physically ready out of high school.
We had a great conversation with Coach Stoops the other day, and he talked about kids who stay for 5 years because of all the training that they do. Sometimes they're not healthy for that 5th year, and the good ones will go out anyway. If they get hurt, you don't get the year back. And again, Oklahoma now opening up that running game just a little bit as we see here on the field. But I think the whole thought process about redshirting freshmen has changed.
Now, one of those talented freshmen down on the field as we head to the 4th. We'll take a look at OU's potential path to the BCS title game when we come back for the 4th. Last play of the 3rd quarter, an unfortunate one for Roy Finch in Oklahoma, the talented true freshman running back. Watch at the end of this play, his hand and his face mask.
Yeah, unfortunate because he already missed 5 games with a hairline fracture in his foot. Hopefully that hand is just bruised and there's no other problems.
That's the true freshman running back who they have so many high hopes for around Oklahoma.
New quarterback, quite a few new players now for Oklahoma. Drew Allen in at quarterback. Landry Jones, what were his numbers? I'm curious because, wow, what a night.
32 of 46, 453 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Those pretty good numbers?
Those are good numbers. Those are career numbers for some people.
Jermaine Calhoun is in at running back now for Oklahoma. Drew Allen, redshirt freshman quarterback. There is a flag down as Jermaine Calhoun across the 50-yard line.
And now if you're Colorado, you want to stop them. You want to make sure. And again, you have a limited number of travel squad people to play. So, and they're a little bit dinged up on defense as we talked about. But again, for the next week and for the next game, because this game may be out of reach right now, but you want to keep some pride in your team.
More than 4 men in the backfield of the offense. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Remains 3rd down.
Our Amway positive performance is Landry Jones, bouncing back from a tough one at Missouri. 0 for 7 with an interception in the 4th quarter. All big numbers tonight.
I want to talk about accuracy. Watch how many times these receivers, all 4 of those highlights, they don't have to flinch. I mean, it is on stride. That epitomizes accuracy and timing and everything else you want to describe in the passing game. And he and Ryan Broyles just on the same page, and that will pay dividends in the final 4 Big 12 games.
Yeah, those guys need to stay hot because they've got Baylor and Oklahoma State coming up down the road, and those are going to be 2 really good football teams.
33-point edge for the Sooners in the 4th. Make your own Halloween or monkeying around joke here. Oklahoma by 33 here against Colorado. It's the backup quarterback Drew Allen who takes a sack on 3rd down.
Is that the first sack of the night?
It is. Forrest West gets to Drew Allen.
Well, I'll tell you what's not monkeying around, unfortunately for Oklahoma, is a couple injuries now that have popped up. Remember, Tyler Evans went out earlier starting right guard. He collided with the ground in his head and neck. You saw his backup, Lovepack, come off the field. Obviously, the biggest question mark will be Roy Finch, the freshman phenom running back, goes out with a hand-wrist injury. Actually, it's a good sign to see him up and about a little bit.
Tressway punts it away. Clemens makes the grab, hangs on to the football, but no return.
ESPN's College Football Prime Time. Brought to you by Dr. Pepper. There's nothing like a pepper. And Pizza Hut. Enjoy all your favorite pizzas at new lower menu prices. Your favorites, your Pizza Hut.
Bud Wilkinson, Barry Switzer, and Bob Stoops helping Oklahoma become the winningest program in major college football since World War II. Joe Washington, a big part of that. And they mentioned earlier how he's really become a mentor for DeMarco Murray. DeMarco said, you know, honestly, being from Las Vegas, he didn't have a great sense of the history of Oklahoma football when he came here, wanted to develop his skills as a running back at the place where Adrian Peterson played, but he's really grasped the legacy. OU's career rushing leader, almost 4,000 yards. He finished as a finalist in the Heisman Trophy, both his junior and senior years. Now, DeMarco did tell us that he noticed Joe used to carry the football a little sling it out a little bit loose. He tried that in practice and was quickly scolded. DeMarco who said, you keep that right in the rib cage. Cody Hawkins sends it long on second down, incomplete, intended for Paul Richardson.
It really speaks to success building upon success. And when you have the tradition and the greats and the history, and you have the success that Oklahoma has had, 7 national titles, 42 conference titles, including 3 of the last 4. It fills the stadium. It builds the facilities. It allows you to recruit. It gives you the opportunity to build a foundation where you can have the run that they've had.
You're right. And, you know, Colorado has an issue, too, with Cody Hawkins, and that they need to protect him because right now he's the only quarterback that they want to play. They've got 2 true freshmen. They don't want to burn their year. And you might want to get Cody out of the game at some point because to protect him for the remainder of the season, or at least until Tyler Hansen can return, they don't have that choice tonight.
And the problem is he got 2 true freshmen as the backups right now for Colorado, so they don't want to burn their red shirts, 2 true freshmen who haven't played. This will be the 7th 3 and out from Colorado tonight.
And you see a little bit of a danger sign if you're Colorado. Even the backups of Oklahoma come in. Emmanuel Jones there, the walk-on cornerback. Same technique that the veteran starters have had. I'm just going to squat on you. I'm going to sit on every one of these routes. I am not fearful of anything you're going to do to me.
Gross-Nickel, the freshman punter, bounces it at the 35. Broyles lets it bounce, catches it on the bounce from the 28. OU BCS Talk is next.
Join Boomer and the gang for Sunday NFL Countdown, 11 a.m. on ESPN.
He was the most gifted player that I ever coached.
Goodbye, Marcus. 20, 10, 5, touchdown. The miracle freshman Marcus Dupree.
Those that saw him play know what they saw was greatness.
He was Marcus Dupree. He just vanished.
30 for 30 premieres November 9th at 8 p.m. Eastern on Marcus Dupree. They call the greatest that never was. It's a fascinating story. Number 30 for 30 on Marcus Dupree. I mean, Barry Switzer, who had phenomenal talent here at Oklahoma. Remember, he won a Super Bowl with the Dallas Cowboys and says he's the best talent he ever coached.
The best that never was. I'll tell you what, you know, when young men don't get a chance to take advantage of the gifts that they're given, it's really hard. And as a coach, that probably is more frustrating than anything else. We recognize great players sometimes, and there are things that just work against them in their lives or from a physical standpoint, injuries, etc., that take it away. And I don't know if there's anything more difficult to deal with as a coach.
Well, this is Jeremy Calhoun down on the field for Oklahoma, the backup running back, sophomore out of Ben Wheeler, Texas. It was down as some injuries start to mount now for the Oklahoma Sooners.
And that's what again, at this time of the game, what you want to do is get the game over with. You're leading. You don't want to get people hurt. You still have to play the game, but you want kids to play hard, because when you start to slow down or ease up is when you see injuries occur.
So we've seen Tyler Evans leave the game early for Oklahoma. Then the guy who slid into his spot at right guard, Brian LePack, had to come off the field. He's back out there now for the Sooners, and now it's the backup running back, Jeremy Calhoun, who is down on the field for OU, being tended to by the training staff.
Well, you talked earlier about the fine line it is with so many of these kids and the talent to get to the NFL, and how remarkable a story for Oklahoma to have 4 first-round picks last year, 2 of the top 3. You've got to find a way to stay healthy. You've got to develop your talents. You've got to play on good teams. And people, I don't think, always understand, Mike, just the freak nature and the timing. And you can get an injury like this for Calhoun, just a sophomore, and how devastating it can be to a career.
Well, and you have 85 scholarships, and a lot of times the average team has about 80 of those filled per year. You really don't have 85. And again, if you're trying to redshirt some people, it's just difficult. And there is no waiver wire. You can't claim people or say, hey, come on, we just lost a couple kids, we need more.
That's a good point, and I think a misperception out there is with 85 scholarships, all these schools, you see them sign 20 kids at 25, they must fight that. Dan Hawkins in our production meeting said, this is the first time we've ever been close in my 5 years to getting to 85 scholarships.
Brennan Clay in a tailback now, and he drops the pass from Drew Allen, the redshirt freshman.
Yeah, there's always some form of attrition, either due to academics or injury or a decision. Somebody changes their mind or gives up football. And again, I think the average, as I said, is between 80 and 81 for most teams. And again, if you have any type of problem situations, you can only sign, 25 per year up to a maximum of 85.
And you saw that played out tonight, I think, on national TV with USC against Oregon, run out of gas. And the number of transfers they had, the lack of scholarships, how much that's going to hurt them in years to come.
Inside screen, Franks for a first down for OU. Franks picking his way into Colorado territory.
And you notice a nice matchup of plays. They're throwing the swing screen or in the flat all game long. They're tying it now to the middle screen. As you come back, you'll see the receiver come back inside. So Colorado's defense is split in two. And again, some of the linemen are just getting up and not even seeing the screen come back at him. Tackle that guy before he gets going, because he's got some speed.
Franks, who won the 100-meter relays at the Texas Relays last year. He wore number 9 at the beginning of the year. Now he's number 2.
And winning that race, that's pretty fast. That's pretty good company.
Allen gets the playoff, handoff to Brennan Clay, freshman from San Diego, California, Scripps Ranch High School.
And now you're seeing a number of the backups, and the majority of which are freshmen for Oklahoma. And offensive coordinator Kevin Wilson told us yesterday they've had a lot of good classes here in Norman. That's how you win all these championships and the national championship. But this group of freshmen may be the best they've ever had in their 11 years here.
That's scary for the rest of the league in the future.
Allen to throw, caught, first down, Oklahoma. That's Brendan Caleb with just the 3rd catch of his senior year.
I think Jaleel Brown thought he had knocked that pass down. He thought he had it defended well enough, but great catch, great concentration by the receiver.
We said this a few times this year in some of these games where you have a young quarterback, a backup, Drew Allen, just a redshirt freshman. These are valuable opportunities and valuable reps, and even though many may believe this is garbage time, this is so much more valuable than those reps right across the stands on the practice field.
And you want to run your offense. You want to run the whole gamut, not just hand the ball off, because that doesn't make the quarterback any better. He's got to make the calls, make the decisions, throw the ball down the field. And some people think it's running up the score, whereas it is. It's the best form of practice that you can get.
Nice cut back there from Brennan Clay to pick up 9. Allen is a former Mule. Alamo Heights High School in San Antonio, Texas.
And a bright kid, and you find that as well as you dig through a lot of the Oklahoma players up front. We talked about Gabe Eichert, valedictorian of his class. Drew Allen, a 3.8 high school student. And Kevin Wilson said that about this crew as well. The reason we can play this many freshmen, because their ability to assimilate within the system and really learn the concepts, process what we're doing.
football is not a game for unintelligent people, contrary to some people's beliefs. The reality is moving this fast, calling these plays, knowing the assignment, all of the communication between the offensive line, some of it verbal and some nonverbal prior to the snap, is amazing. And it's a whole course of study that requires time and focus and concentration.
There's still nearly 10 minutes to go in this game, and Oklahoma has 612 yards of offense. Mike, you said it earlier, just the number of plays. Right now, this will be the 84th play that Oklahoma has run tonight. That's not even getting into the yards and average per play and all those numbers. If you can run 84 plays on a team, and there's still a lot of time to go, that tells you that you're doing basically everything you want on the football field.
And much of this built in the first quarter success. And this Colorado defense is beat up. It's thin. We have seen the same players having to play now late into the fourth quarter. They simply don't have any other bodies to run out there. When Oklahoma was on the field, as much as they were offensively, Colorado had 4 3-and-outs out of their first 5 drives. This was destined to happen.
Oklahoma running the football now, but 498 in the passing game tonight. That is an OU record. Let's check in with Wendy.
Carter, thank you. An update from the baseball diamond. It's the World Series. Neftali Feliz gets Juan Uribe swinging. The Rangers win it 4-2. The series now, Giants 2, Texas 1. Baseball tonight coming up right after this.
Sure, one of the things the guys are going to be talking about on baseball tonight, the pitching rotation now for the rest of the series. It was, if you could get to a Game 5, it's Cliff Lee again for the Rangers, and now with Texas win tonight, that means there'll be a Game 5 in the World Series. If you go to Game 6, it's C.J. Wilson. Had to leave the last start for the Rangers with a blister. ESPNDallas.com, complete coverage of the Texas Rangers in the World Series for the first time, as well as the beginning of the season for the Stars and the Mavs. What the heck is going on with the Dallas Cowboys? All available at ESPNDallas.com. We're just up the road from Dallas, Texas, home of the Red River rivalry game between Oklahoma and Texas. Won this year by OU for the first time in 3 years.
You know, Michael Sapili shaken up on that last play. Colorado can ill afford to lose another good linebacker, Major, going down last week for several weeks. And again, you can't decimate that crew. You need to start like a baseball team. You want your defense to be strong up the middle. And the linebackers have to be the key to hold the whole thing together.
Muscle stood up at the line and driven back. Didn't get it. Back up fullback.
What did we learn from Oklahoma tonight?
We learned that they can get the ball on the edge. Landry Jones is a very accurate passer, and he distributes the ball correctly to guys like Broyles and Murray. No matter where they line up, they can be tremendously effective.
4th and 1. OU looks like they will go for it on 4th and 1 and pick up the first down. Jeremy Calhoun dives for an OU first down.
That play may be more important for some of the coaches at Oklahoma, wanting to establish that physical presence, wanting more punch at the line of scrimmage. We still haven't seen them knock the ball, people off the ball inside, but they don't need to when they can get their linemen to release to the outside and they can block people effectively in space.
That's right. It's going to be, I think, a bit of a work in progress still. And they go on the road and have 2 difficult games on the road to end the season. And who would have ever thought coming into this year that the Baylor Bears on the road leading the South Division are going to be the marquee game here down the stretch. And I don't think Oklahoma's going to be a blow you off the ball. This isn't the 2008 Oklahoma. This isn't Lode Holt. This isn't Trent Williams. This isn't the mass that you have up front. This is going to be a more athletic crew, and if they can get Finch involved and seeing some of the locals here at halftime and walking the hallways with them, he's a guy that everyone is excited and enamored with, along with a DeMarco Murray, a Ryan Broyles. If they can have some of that mix and balance, they're going to be potent on offense.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised to see Oklahoma be a little bit stubborn here and just keep running the ball from these power formations. Say, hey, we need to get better at this. Let's practice it right now while we have the game in hand. Let's see if we can knock some people off the ball. Let's get some stuff on film that we can learn from.
Brennan Clay is the running back. He picked up the last first down for Oklahoma.
To Oklahoma of the second half.
Timeout OU. Sooners trying to run out a 33-point win over Colorado. From Mozart to Elvis Presley here in Norman, Oklahoma tonight.
Is that another one of the UC Davis alumni?
Elvis or Mozart?
Bad haircut? Is that what you're saying? I left tickets for Elvis. I don't know if you picked them up.
You and Jerry Glanville both. Well, there were some suspicious minds among the Oklahoma fan base after OU went down as the #1 team last week at Missouri. But it's
I think they
been all OU
quieted
here.
some of those suspicions tonight.
They went as OU cheerleaders, pulling that look off. On 3rd down and 9, it's Brennan Clay again, the freshman from San Diego, who's number 5 on the depth chart in the game now for Oklahoma as the Sooners try and run out this win over Colorado. Chris Berman hosts ESPN's 2-hour pregame show. That would be today if you're on the East Coast, 11 a.m. Eastern. We're nearing midnight in Central time as well. Sunday NFL Countdown presented by IBM on ESPN, 11 a.m. Eastern time.
They're going to run the ball again. This is what I said. This is a training reel, both on the field for those young men and then so they can watch it and figure out how can we run the ball better and more consistently.
Drew Allen is the quarterback now for Oklahoma. And he hands off. Clay will be stopped short, so Colorado gets the football, but Oklahoma runs time off the clock, and as you said, just getting the practice reps for all of those backups. Our protection spotlight brought to you by Castrol GTX shows you how much time Landry Jones had all night for the Sooners.
There still may be a work in progress for some of the downhill physical elements of the run game, but this very athletic offensive line for Oklahoma gave Landry Jones plenty of time. And look at the space between him and the defensive line. You have that much room to throw. You can be pinpoint in your accuracy. And let's give some credit to Josh Heupel as well. Quarterback coach Sam Bradford was tremendously accurate and poised, and his fundamentals flawless. And you saw tonight Landry Jones on a career night, 32 of 46, 453 yards, 4 touchdowns. Kevin Wilson, coordinator, said give Josh Heupel some credit of growing these young quarterbacks. What I saw tonight, Coach, was pretty much flawless.
Great job and a nice mix of protection. Some max protection, some play action screens, get the ball out, move the pocket a little bit. Again, nice plan, nice execution.
Technique, fundamentals, no wasted movement. The ball stays high, quick release, tight spirals. Just very well coached.
Heupel was the quarterback on the 2000 championship team for Oklahoma. There's Cody Hawkins to the air on 2nd down. That is incomplete, stopping the clock at 3:48.
One thing you've noticed, too, Colorado's been throwing the ball down the field more for 2 reasons, I believe. One, the trajectory of the balls are not going to get blocked. They haven't thrown the underneath control passing game type stuff because too many of those got blocked early. They also are trying, because they're not very effective on 3rd downs and 1st downs, to get yardage in big chunks.
Trying to create some breathing room, but as we've alluded to a number of times tonight, doesn't take us up here in the booth. You're seeing it on TV as well. Velcro coverage on all the receivers tonight.
Baseball tonight coming up next. It's Oklahoma running its home winning streak to 35 straight. Scott McKnight makes the catch there to convert for Colorado. Keep the Buffaloes in possession across their own 20-yard line. It will be another tough loss for Colorado, falling to 0-4 in Big 12 competition. 15 straight road losses. They'll be 3-5 on the year with 4 straight losses after a 3-1 start, including that home victory over Georgia. That's the last win for Colorado.
Scotty McKnight, one of the captains of this team and a leader on the field, one of the guys that the coaches talked about, just can get everybody fired up, can keep them working, leads by example in practice, and just makes plays all over the field.
And his dad, Scott, played at UC Davis with Dan Hawkins.
Yep. I think that's why we lost him. Otherwise, he'd have walked on at Oregon. We actually did talk to him. When he had a chance, he walked on at Colorado. He would have been a great addition to our program.
Southern California grew up playing catch with Mark Sanchez, now the quarterback of the New York Jets via USC. Stewart, nice cutback to get near a Colorado 1st down.
Now, this has been a very difficult stretch and road for Dan Hawkins and his son, Cody. And you just talked to Dan and you talked to Eric Keesaw, the offensive coordinator, and they all remarked at just how phenomenal Cody has been with handling this, because he has been butchered, to put it nicely, in Colorado and the Denver market and everybody else, and all the heat and all the criticism and everything that always comes down on two figures. We've talked about this in college football and NFL. The buck stops with two people by and large, and that's the head coach and the quarterback, and in this case, both of them related.
You're right, and Cody is, as I said, top 5 in every major passing category, and 1, 2, or 3 in several. So, I mean, he's going to be one of the best quarterbacks in terms of his ability to throw the ball in Colorado football history. But again, the wins haven't been accumulated at a pace that people will respect what he's accomplished.
Rolling under 2 minutes now. Baseball tonight coming up next, recapping the Rangers' 4-2 win over the Giants. Game 3 of the World Series down the road in Arlington tonight. Cody Hawkins to throw on first down, tipped and incomplete, intended for Tony Clements. Well, coming up later today, if you're on the East Coast, it's BCS Countdown presented by Discover Card. The new BCS poll will be revealed 8:15 Eastern on ESPN, continuing 9 Eastern on ESPNU. And now let's start to think about how this affects the Oklahoma Sooners. They have Michigan State, Missouri going down next week. 4th-ranked TCU goes on the road to play Utah. So another of those schools, either TCU or Utah, who's ahead of Oklahoma going into this week, is going to fall. And Mike, you talked about Alabama's the only other team in that BCS top 10 with a loss. That pass batted away from Clemens. So a very tough road ahead for Alabama. They go to LSU, have Auburn at the end of the year, potential SEC championship game. The Sooners, a couple weeks, if they take care of business, could be right back in the BCS title game picture.
You're right, and college football is a crazy game. You never know week to week who's going to win or who's going to be hot or what the matchup might be, but Oklahoma certainly has a chance to be the best one-loss team if they finish out this season strong. And again, Alabama has a tough road, as we talked about, playing both LSU and Auburn before the end of the season.
Not going to see change at the top 4 of that BCS. Maybe Oregon climbs a little in some of the computer rankings as they beat USC, more of a quality opponent, and Oregon's going to grow in those BCS rankings when they take on the Arizona and the other ranked schools within the Pac-10. So let's give some credit to Auburn today. The first #1 over the last 3 weeks to handle going on the road. And Gus Malzahn, you know, I really, really appreciate, I got to see Auburn twice last year 1 of that system. And Gus Malzahn, I think, does a tremendous job, a little bit like Oklahoma. And Kevin Wilson said, we need that physical element to go with all this quick passing game and everything we do. And Auburn's got that going, and that is so difficult on a defense. When you play at the pace they do, when you throw it, a lot like Oregon as well, but when you can combine that run element, it puts you in such a bind defensively. And I think why both of those teams were able to handle going on the road and getting it done this weekend.
You're right, and when your power running game is supplied by the quarterback, as actually Jeremiah Masoli provided last year for Oregon, is now doing the same thing for Mrs. Ole Miss, but Cam Newton, my gosh, I don't think you can tackle him. No, absolutely, no question.
You vote today, there's no doubt about it.
And as we said, even if Auburn were to lose down the road, I don't know that it'll go away from Cam Newton because he doesn't make mistakes. He doesn't turn the ball over. He is a force to be reckoned with.
And what a statement for college football. The Heisman Trophy winner a year ago, Mark Ingram, was on nobody's preseason list. Cam Newton was on no one's list this year whatsoever. And as I said, I think clear-cut right now within that conversation. I don't even know. Seconds a long ways away, be it LaMichael James, Kellen Moore, some of the other names, but Cam Newton, a class of his own right now.
Guys, Colorado off next year to the what will be the Pac-12, so this is the last time that Oklahoma and Colorado will meet as Big 12 rivals. Nebraska going to the Big 10 next year. With Nebraska's win today, they're atop the Big 12 North. If Oklahoma can beat Baylor and Oklahoma State at the end of the regular season, they would be atop the Big 12 South, potentially setting up the old rivalry in the Big 12 championship game. Last championship game of the Big 12, it was Oklahoma and Nebraska. Sooner fans would love to see that traditional rivalry that will end at the end of this year with the end of the Big 12 as we know it.
And I think that would be a great football game, too. That would be a very compelling football game to watch, and the winner of that game would certainly have a chance, if it were Oklahoma, to go in to the next level.
Well, the question going into tonight was, would the Oklahoma Sooners take the fight to the Colorado Buffaloes? Big time, early and often. A 33-point win for the Oklahoma Sooners, bouncing back from the loss at Missouri that cost them the #1 ranking. They're 9. New BCS rankings, how high will the Sooners climb? They take care of business against Colorado 43-10. Up next on ESPN2, it's Baseball Tonight, driven by Chevrolet. From Rock Heward, Mike Bellotti, and our entire ESPN crew, I'm Carter Blackburn. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. The Sooners bounce back from the Missouri loss to win their 35th straight home game in Norman. In convincing fashion, a send-off for the Buffaloes.